Hello everyone, and welcome to the Solos Inferno tournament. My name is Dia, and I am joined by Vicky. As Vicky, we get the chance to break down some of Apex Legends' biggest content creators as they go head to head to head to head to head to head to, you get it, in a Solos tournament.
This first Solos Inferno tournament that we also get to witness with are not only our content creators, but pro players as well, with some extra spice added to the pot, Dia, because we got some different rules to look over.
We certainly do. Now, this is going to run pretty differently from a lot of other tournaments that you may have seen, so we do want to dive a little bit deeper into this. The nice thing is, though, that Vicky, we do get to rely on that sort of same old thing where at least we know that we're playing 6 games. Those 6 games, however, are going to take place on very different maps.
Absolutely. As you can see right here, game number 1 and game number 2 will be ran on Kings Canyon, while game 3 and 4 will be on World's Edge, and then we get to close out the day with games 5 and 6 being on Broken Moon. But Dia, this means that we're going to have a winner getting that first place prize per each game. That's right. So if a different player wins game 1 and a different player wins game 2, each of those 2 different players would be getting that first place prize per game. Same thing could be said for the second, third place prize, even all the way down to 10th to 15th. Well, at the end of the day, we will have 2 kill leaders that will be added up after the course of the kills have been calculated by the end of the 6 games.
Okay, so I know it's a lot to absorb right now, but because we're doing it, like you said, per game, we've also got a lot to look forward to in terms of what those different games will bring us, because we're not just doing 6 games on a couple different maps, we're actually introducing different rules for each map. Now, the one rule that's going to stay the same is that you can't play Revenant. Nobody's going to be playing Revenant over the course of the 6 games. But for, say, our first 2 games on Kings Canyon, for game 1, all of our pro players will be using only Wraith as their option to pick. And for game 2, we're going to be switching things up a little bit more and excluding Rampart and Vantage from the player pool.
Sorry, Dia. Can't run the Rampart route here, okay? No more Sheila, but that's because no guns, right? That's the game number 2 rules. We'll actually reiterate these rules as we go through the games, so that way you guys have it fresh in your minds, because it's going to be very interesting and influence the way these solos are going to try to go for these rotates, or how they're going to approach either taking some of these fights, or if they're going to have to back away depending on the legend compositions that they're running.
Yeah, this is, honestly, like, we got to see a little bit of Solos gameplay back at Split 1 playoffs for the ALGS, and it was really enjoyable then. Now that we're getting to swap up maps a little bit more and introduce some more legends into the mix, it'll be a really nice way to see everybody's personality come out. I do remember that we had a lot of Pathfinder last time we were at a Solos tournament.
Ooh, gotta see how that plays out, because I know there's some rules maybe around the Pathy, as we take a look also at the players competing in today's solo tournament. We highlighted content creators, we highlighted ALGS players. Well, I mean, I saw Noko in the chat earlier saying, okay, what defines a pro player? Tempo comes in ALGS players. So we got a mix of both here, and it is nice to note when we talk about the overall top 2 kill leaders of the day, Platinum and Diamond players in this lobby get a 2 times multiplier on their kills. So that is something else that a lot of these pros are going to have to look out for, because obviously there's going to be some players that are going to want to take advantage of maybe third-party situations that can help elevate them in the overall top kill leaders, because that is an extra $400 in the pocket.
I think it's nice that we're saying, basically, you're not expected to necessarily, like, measure up to all the pro players that are going to be jumping in and are expected to have a really high mechanical ceiling, or even those, like, top grinders as well. If you are playing in this, if you just managed to sneak your way in and perhaps are getting your first chance at, like, exposure in a solos tournament, there's still a fighting chance for you to come away with the title at the end of it, with a little bit of hard work, of course. I do want to take a look, Vicky, at our participating players for today, because there are a lot of them. This is a solos lobby, so we're not really grouping them by team nearly as much. They're all going to be playing as individuals. Everybody's got their own team, in a way.
Yeah, they got it. But at least, you know what? Knowing what you're up against, that is the key, especially with the rules that we're going to be, exposed to. His and Her Live, of course, coming in here. Favorite, Miss Don't Miss. So many different, Apex community members coming through. Top players that we get to witness almost every weekend for the Pro League. But how is this going to influence any cheese that we could expect? Because you know what, Dia? You and Tiff, you guys were able to cast the first solos tournament out there at LAN. We got to witness cheese firsthand in that tournament that obviously some now reoccurring participants may take some notes after now experiencing solos within Season 21.
That's certainly true. I think it's weird because now that we've had solos for so long, I feel like you've really got to have your strategies under wrap. You shouldn't be getting caught off guard by third parties nearly as much, although I'll be honest, I'm sure it's going to happen because that has been my solos gameplay experience much of the time. I'll take a 1v1 and it's fine, but somebody's dropping back in on me, and we should talk about this, Vicky. The fact that solos, the game mode, if you haven't played it, if you haven't seen it in a while, does run a little bit differently than your regular game of Apex Legends. When you're eliminated, normally that would be it for you, but in solos that's very different.
Yeah, it does give you another chance too. Kind of similarly, if you guys were able to play 3 strikes, you get a second chance, and you know what? If you try to run it back, there's your opportunity. But it's also, you know, did you meet your maker? Do you feel like you're not gonna win that matchup, especially after you already got demolished? Or do you know if there's other players in the area that maybe you could bait and then scoop up maybe from behind and go in for a flank? There's so many different strategies that you could use to approach these solos.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes on exactly how respawn tokens are being used, because again, if they're not used much later into the game, they turn into Evo as well, which can give you a nice advantage over everyone else. One of the things that I've actually found really difficult that I didn't anticipate is that if you aren't getting involved in fights, if you are landing in a spot on the map where you aren't really getting the chance to engage with nearly as many people, you can actually end up with pretty poor shields, all things considered, when moving into final end zones, and that'll really hurt you.
And that goes hand in hand too with the perks that you get to work with here. With some rules that we have where there's no guns, it actually makes me question, yes, we can't have the Vantage coming in here, we can't have the Rampart, but what about fused knuckle clusters? So there, you know, Mad Maggie's drill, little things that I'm unsure of still so far to see what is and isn't allowed. We already do know the legends that can't be played in these game modes, but there are little ways around doing some damage if you have to really duke it out.
I'm wondering, since we're starting on Kings Canyon as well, like where the happening place will be. I've seen a lot of players dropping containment. That's where I tend to go, especially when I'm loading in for a little bit of fun, but maybe there's a place where we'll centralize a little bit more.
Ooh, it's Kings Canyon. You know what's also great here? This is the first time that I'm able to now cast over Kings Canyon ever in the official Apex broadcast. But in a solos way, I just feel like, per my experience, obviously Kings Canyon is gonna bring everybody very knit tight. You're gonna be able to close in that gap much more frequently, but that also means inevitably you're gonna be met with the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I mean, insert all the numbers here with the amount of people in this lobby that could fill up a lobby at the very least to now take advantage of different positions that they could really capitalize off in a map like Kings Canyon, and also the diversity. It's not just Kings Canyon like we mentioned before, it's also World's Edge and Broken Moon. After the changes that we saw in Broken Moon, I've enjoyed playing Broken Moon so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really exciting, and it does feel like it's got a lot more flow as a map, which is very cool. You've got a lot of options when it comes to how you want to rotate in maps like Broken Moon, and like sort of pulling that back into our first couple of games, the way that that'll affect you on Kings Canyon with the lack of options in a lot of ways, you do have to mostly rely on jump towers in order to get from POI to POI if you want to do it quickly, unlike being able to use zip lines in other maps. And since you don't have tridents either, you really do have to navigate around this weird central area of the map quite a lot more often than you might otherwise have to.
You know, bringing that up, actually, something that I just saw in the player chat, Hal asking, you know, is this regular jump ship, or are we going to be able to pick our POIs? Listen, this is not a POI draft, okay? This is solos. We're not picking where we're landing. Normal drop ship rules here for anyone wondering how that's also going to be contested with so many players, 50 players, obviously, in this lobby. But it's going to be a good time. I mean, I'm excited to see how this plays out. You mentioned the Pathfinder that we witnessed earlier, but we're going to have some games where maybe Wraith only.
Could be. You know, my real question here, actually, now that you've brought up Hal sort of questioning what exactly is happening with the dropship, is are pro players washed now that they don't have to contest off drop anymore? I'm gonna say, Vicky, I think they are. I think that we're gonna get into this, and our content creators who have been out here in the fields every day taking 1v1s for their life, I think they're gonna come out on top.
Or is there gonna be a secret hit on one of these players? Like, that is collusion. I don't know. Come on. Like, I love this community. They just, you know, they always keep holding forward when it comes to maybe trying to figure out which of these players that they could take down first. A player that ends up being a problem in this lobby. If there's any collusion that we may find out about later, trying to target certain players, get them out of the competition, and what that would do by the end of the game.
One of the really nice things about this as well is that, you know, people are going to be playing for the win, obviously, but we've got content creators in here for a reason. They're going to be playing a lot for content. You want to get some flashy clips and likely try and find a way to style on your opponents so that you can have the chance of throwing out something that'll be really exciting, not just for us, but of course for socials as well. Now, looking at the player list, I'm sort of trying to predict based on, you know, who I saw play Pathfinder, who I saw play Alter back at ALGS, what exactly is going to happen here. I still, as we said, am anticipating a lot of things like Pathy, but I'm wondering if we get some players that want to like lean on something that they're a little bit more comfortable with regularly, or try and insert some confusion into the mix by playing less mobile legends and seeing if they can take advantage of, say, a Newcastle barrier or a caustic rat play.
Ooh, you know what? At that point, Dia, let's just spoil it for the crowd, right? If you guys didn't look at the rules aside from the different maps, I'm gonna spoil you guys for the first game. First game rules: pros, only pros, by the way, can only use Wraith. Once again, the definition of a pro here in this tournament are the pros that are currently competing in the ALGS. So once again, they can only use Wraith. Then you mentioned what else could come into play for the different competitors that we have in this lobby. You talk about the Cossack, you talk about maybe bunkering down with what you got, and that's only for game one, by the way. Guns obviously are still allowed, while in certain other games, no guns, no rampart, no vantage, like we heard Dia mention earlier on. How is that going to influence the results that we saw in our first solos tournament over by land, where you mentioned who was playing Pathfinder, who was playing Alter? Noko, he stuck with the Alter pick, okay? I believe it was a prize that had used the Wraith even when everybody in the lobby was like, all right, guys, Alter only. And then the prize was like, nah, not me. So, you know what? There's still a lot of players that stick to what they feel more comfortable and what could be exploited. Because little things with game modes like this and events, which are always so fun and different to participate in. D and I had the opportunity to participate in a hide-and-seek tournament earlier on this month, and Dia came out with the Ash, and I was like, wait, hold up, that is so smart. You just get to scan the death boxes and find out for those 60 seconds while they're live on your map with the Ash perk where the perpetrators are. So, you know what? If you can exploit whatever you can on a legend comp that you feel like you could take advantage of, and with the map that we're playing on, that's going to be the creativity I'm looking for.
You know, I'm still waiting for the Ash comeback, but I could actually see Ash being pretty useful in a solos game mode, because not only are you able to, of course, scan death boxes, which isn't going to be nearly as useful here, I guess, unless you're hunting down one person, but with the perk to be able to call out how many squads are in the area, you'll actually get a number of teams, or a number of people, rather, that are surrounding you afterwards. And because you can look at the map and see where people are dying, I think you'll get a pretty good idea of where you can go to get involved yourself. So, I'm not hard selling Ash, but we'll call it a soft sell. I think Ash could have some real value here.
We gotta see. I like how you bring this up. Once again, guys, thank you so much for your patience. We're just waiting for the lobby to load up and to make sure everybody is here as well. Don't want to start the game without anybody being present that we are expecting. And if you guys are just tuning in, player list out here is His and Her Lives, Imperial Hal, Zab, Verholz, Timmy, Keong, Design, Gent. So many amazing faces. We the People is gonna be out here. I spoke to him earlier, actually, in the morning, and I was like, yo, are you participating in this event? He's like, absolutely. You guys gotta gas me up. I'm like, all right, peeps. No bias, of course. But Girl is gonna also be participating in this. Noko, we talked about prize earlier on. Noob King Fade, another player that we saw in that solos tournament at LAN. So a lot of returning familiar faces. But we also have content curators coming in from all different skill levels of Apex Legends.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see. I mean, I know that Noko, you mentioned it earlier, was asking about like what qualifies as a pro versus not. One of the things I'm really excited for, and we got to see a bit of it again in that solos tournament over at Split One playoffs, is the way that the women's comp scene enters and like is able to sort of show off their mechanics. Because we've got quite a few participants today that do also compete pretty regularly, and people like Creststep, for example, are going to be people that I'm keeping my eye on. People like Favorite as well. Alley Oop is playing today. And so you've got a lot of opportunities to show off your mechanics, show off what makes you exciting, and like we said, maybe generate a few clips in the meantime. We're going to start things off, however, game number 1 as we drop into Kings Canyon, Vicky.
Woo, first time for me, and I cannot wait to break down the action here for our first Solos Inferno event. This is going to be a good time here, Dia. Let's get started. Again, regular dropship, guys. For those of you guys watching the ALGS, obviously no appointed POIs here.
They're like, what is that? What? It's been so long, and already we've got some engagements that are sure to kick off. Hal's landed right next to Doll. And it looks like he's ratting with the Havoc. I told you. They're a bit washed. They got to rely on the element of surprise.
Wait a minute. Oh, he hears him. He's right below him, too. He got the Havoc so quick. Oh, that's right. That's another thing to know. In these solos events, for those of you guys who haven't been playing solos, obviously you could pick up a weapon already with a preset loadout, depending on the typical colors, blue, purple, coming in. So just trying to see if he could creep his way. Playing Wraith only. That is the rules for game number 1. Pros can only use Wraith, and it's Legendary Doll that's right behind him.
As soon as Doll leaves, surely Hal's going to just rock up on the engagement. I think they're having already spotted each other. Hal's not taking any chances, and neither is Doll, both paying respect. And Doll's seen a lot of this hot drop contest before. She hosts a lot of like regular tournaments for her community members to compete in. She's cast a lot of them, so I'm sure she's seen this going. I know the dangers of a 1v1 early on.
Absolutely, especially in Relic. Come on, I have to go pull up over here for Kings Canyon, but Noko taking some shots with the Path was already able to get that correct, and this is why we see the Pathfinder so much in solos. That's why we saw it so much earlier at LAN, because you just get to cross in so much distance. I mean, whenever you crack a Pathy and they grapple away, good luck trying to chase after that Pathy unless you're Pathy yourself. Ooh, and Hal does get the knock and the kill.
Ooh, a nice way to find an early advantage. You'll get the Evo off of that, as I was mentioning. Very important when you're playing solos. You do not want to be left behind on this. Now, Noko's got the chance to regen some health up here, but when you have height, it's really... you're not going to lose the engagement. It's a matter of whether you both deem it worth your time to continue in it. Verhulst as well, having picked up blues already, is on the hunt for their next fight, but I don't see anyone really around Verhulst on the little map I've got up on the side.
No, if anything, he's just approaching closer to the choke that we saw Howlin in south of Relic. He gets shot immediately, though, loses out on his shield, backing away. He's got the charge up Senti himself, obviously on the Wraith for the same reason that we were talking about earlier when we saw Howl originally, as it's Noob King across from him. You can see the other 3 players that are by the south side of Relic. You saw Howl there, G-Money, Lamik as well. It's also the fact that this circle is pulling towards Relic that I'm excited to see how some of these other players are going to try to approach from the north side of Kings Canyon. Okay.
Oh my god, I was hoping
Wait a
that
minute.
we'd get something like a Newcastle win, and Fade gives it to me. I didn't expect Fade to be doing this, but he's got clearly the mechanics on Newcastle that he's ready to show us. Sentinel in the hands of Verhulst doesn't connect twice, but a Volt at close range, and you know Verhulst is going to do all right. Unfortunately, the health was in the favor of Noob King. He gets the instant shield reset and is off on his way again.
I was going to tell you, Dia, we know what Verho's going to do in this case. He's got to reset now instead. Unfortunately, back to the skies he comes from before he drops right back down to see where he may land, as Sykes also loses out on his shield. It's Boom Razzle on the other side. But the actual patience that we're seeing from everybody else holding 2 different angles here in Caustics, this is the type of sweat that you can expect to see when there is money on the line, everyone. Let's not forget, it is a $20,000 prize pool. Winner gets gets paid out every single game for that extra $400 for first place. Sykes gets burnt, backing away, running the double energy. Still, it's that same respect that we keep seeing. Also curious to see how some of these pros are going to be able to work around, whether it be a survey beacon or a ring console. Obviously, not our ALGS pros since they're on the Wraith, but the other individuals here that may try to take advantage. Fade creeping around with the PK in hand. He hears him right above him, though, trying to see if anybody else is within the vicinity. I believe it's just 3 others now approaching from bunker side, and the circle is directly pulling, by the way, towards Relic. So we take a look at Fade and what he's going to do. He hears the other footsteps, but slightly far away, just trying to determine if he could get in this angle. You see We The Peeps also getting KC in the feed. Knocked also going to be able to follow up. And finally, Fade taking height, though, taking the positional advantage, backing away with the respect. Here is another fight, is still just trying to take their time. Timmy in the feed, getting 2 knocks while he's at it.
I think Fade's got an angle here. Should be able to move in. PK in hand, does miss barely
here, though.
On the
for him to
early
come right back here. Fade still
engagement.
dancing around the side of the building. Oh, here we go. The Newcastle ult to boot him right off, though. There you go, Dia. I know you were excited to see the Fade Newcastle.
I didn't expect to see the push tech come out in game number 1, but Fade's got it on lock. I will say, the way that these two players are engaging around this building has extended the fight for so long. Favorite may, in fact, be able to take this back. The crack from Fade comes in, but he gets hurt himself, and this door is going to provide a nice bit of safety for now, letting both players reset. Great shield, just in time, but a 9 on the PK is not what we're looking for, Vicky.
All right, but the round 2 is closing, though. They're going to have to start making moves because guess what? Creasep is right here. Favorite is in a lot of trouble while Fade minds his own business. You see the gravity coming in as well, pulling them all forward. Oh, but that would have been so clutch. Favorite so close to turning around a position where he was in the disadvantage, but Creasep comes out on top with the purple Evo too.
I cannot believe that she was able to third-party that so quickly, and Fade turning around now may go down to her as well. Great shots on the flat line, but Fade's getting shot in the back, and this continued third-party meta of solos is really giving him a tough time.
And it's just going to be a party for everybody to get involved with, as Agent Boy always also going to be able to rotate to his south. You see, We The Peeps, he saw the situation and the ring closing, may end up having to call an evac. Yes, you see Agent Boy actually doing the same exact thing while Creasep tries to navigate outside the circle, even shooting at the evac tower while Fade manages to get it safely back into the circle.
See what Peep is able to do. Jumping on top of the ship with Bangalore as well. And a Havoc ready to go at close range. Space him down what looks like Nocturnal on the other.
Hold up. Peep's been cooking up, though. 33 players left, and he's got 3 kills to his name. Still with the blue Havoc, though. It's the respect that we're seeing as he manages to get right back onto the low ground. Hear the portal coming out. He knows that this is a pro now trying to contest him. It's actually Kipsy on the other side here, too, of the portal. Trying to see if anybody else is going to poke out. Talk about the amount of Banglers that we also see in this lobby. Timmy takes some shots here with the gold Havoc, but lacking on the energy ammo as he's stuck halfway through the circle, but with the heat shield right there before he takes the portal. Oh!
Manages to pop the bat quickly enough that Kispy's not able to get it on the other side. Sykes comes out right behind that, and Timmy's got the chance to turn around and collect some kills. Sykes has just picked up 1. It's an insta reset, but in a 1v1, both full health, it's Timmy versus Sykes on the edge of circle.
Of course, it's got to be Timmy just really quick. Got to get the wall bounce before he wraps around the rock because the circle is closing in. And if he could get into a better position just to gatekeep Sykes, then all props here to Sykes.
High ground super useful here. And with Wraith, it looks like pros are pretty comfortable using just the small tactical to get from place to place. In this case, completely bypassing the sight line that Timmy had. And now Timmy is trapped between a rock and a hard place, or should I say between Sykes and a Prizzy in the south.
See, nobody's looking at him just yet. He's really trying to figure out the situation while Hal has been dominating Relic. Let's not forget, this is exactly where he landed before. This is where we saw him pick up his first kill. And he is not only the kill leader right now with 27 players left, but he keeps racking up the heads in his favor.
Real time ends up falling. So does Legendary Doll, the very same player that dropped next to Hal earlier on. Confusing Cutie picks up a kill. And that should be the real focus, being on Skulltown for the moment, is Fade's right behind as well. Everyone is moving on into likely one of the most fun places to fight on Kings Canyon.
Obviously, this is Relic for a reason. Of course, Skulltown always will be in my heart. Always will miss Skulltown. But it's unfortunate, but we'll make do with what we got right now, and we'll make do with where the circle pull is pulling, because it's actually pulling outside of Relic, and they already see it happening. Fade's already on his way while navigating around the replicator. Easy free bat here for him to have, too, while everyone's about to fight out of Relic.
Wait, Tony Romero's right behind him. Didn't hit Fade at all. Well, Fade was hitting the crab, so maybe just for Tony, it's about waiting things out. Great movement from Fade. As soon as the shotgun pops up, the cutaway happens. It doesn't look like Fade's been able to pick up the kill just yet, but we've got a few moments left for everyone as the zone is now closing, drawing everyone out of Relic and up onto the high ground.
He got favored at the very end here, and now it's up to Hal to get right into that circle with 4 or 5 other people right in front of him. He tries to go in with the Q, sees him, maybe he could get the kidnap though as he's trying to heal up. Oh, that would have been absolutely crazy, but girl, with the PK in hand, blasts him in the face.
Refuses to deal with that. It was like 100 damage immediately. Unfortunately, Gent picks up the kill on Girl right after that with Keon and Knock all in this corner. It is the ALGS corner of Kings Canyon, and Keon's the one that initially picks up a kill before being taken down themselves. Gent still waiting on this heat shield to expire for one last bit of KP. Now, we are in the top 12 at this point, Vicky. The players are really starting to be whittled down, and importantly, we've reached that point where you've already got some pricing off of your first game.
Oh, that's a great point here. It's also nice to note the amount of kills that so many of our players have already been able to obtain. Hal obviously having that second life. I believe that was the first time we saw Hal go down, and with 11 players left, 8 KP to his name, he's trying to rack up even more damage here. The pressure as Hal keeps this player back in the choke. I believe this is Gent, who's about to get sandwiched with confusing cues.
There's just a big traffic jam happening up towards the north. A lot of teams, players rather, had to rotate up through here. Hal doesn't even have time to hit a bad, or ultimately committing to an engagement one way or the other. He's going to dip down into the building. Who awaits him here? We saw Fade hit a nasty wall bounce earlier, and Hal, for all of his lack of shields, is going to end up going down to We the People, who falls immediately afterwards.
That's what happens when you grief each other for that first floor, but guess who got here first? It is Fade on the Newcastle, who is blocked off the doorway, which now allows him to coexist with another player.
Having PK as well around this corner that he's artificially created with the wall is super useful. I mean, solos, nobody's taking down that wall. You're not going to be able to team shoot it, but Fade ends up pulling out the PK, dancing around the shield, and whipping out the door immediately, deciding, you know what, this fight is gone. It's just 5 players left. If Fade goes down now, he is out, as is Gent, just as we say it.
Fade is always so fun to watch, honestly, from the very beginning. Now being able to see the Schmovement God himself now trying to get on top of the high ground, gets that PK spot, that shot rather dropping down. Seeing another player on the other side of his wall though. He's trying to see the way he tries to play around this.
He takes down the wall.
He takes down the wall, and he's still creating space for both the roof and that second floor.
Mobile shield is super useful here, and remember that with the ultimate, he can actually push people away from whatever position Fade decides to take next. He could commit to Dropped, who has one of the best spots right now. He's completely alone. He gets to watch as everyone must exit from this building. Fade likely being one of the first. Though he's got, again, the wall if he wants to do it a little bit later. Drops in, immediately takes down Sykes with a PK shot to the dome, dropping us to top 3.
Last 3 now, it's going to be Fade, zapping the same building, but Dropped is in a way better position here. The circle closing in, Fade, he gets a second PK shot. He slides behind the other side of the doorway, trying to see what corner he's going to try to come from. But Dropped is in the best spot, has the natural cover of the rock.
Here comes the ultimate. Dropped Gets kicked out just a little bit. The energized shield not kicking in just yet. And before it even turns on, Dropped takes the win.
Fade was cooking though on that Newcastle. He had taken damage for coming out of that door, but it was Dropped that had the best spot to win the whole game. Props to Drop 2 from being able to survive out in the open beyond those buildings after the chaos that we saw from all the people that had to exit out of Relic.
That was so cool. I did not expect to see in Game 1, Vicky, a Newcastle surviving not just into the top 5, but making it to second place and very nearly being able to turn that engagement. It's a good thing that Dropped is able to move so quickly and think on his feet as fast as he did, because otherwise we're seeing a very different endgame where ultimately once the energized castle wall is on, it's very difficult to approach Fade over the zone of control that he's got.
Especially since it slows you down too. You have a PK in hand, so slowing you down to be detrimental in that last fight, but Dropped was positioned in a great way. We mentioned it earlier, Dia, that it was going to be exciting to see what kind of legends our players are going to be picking to navigate around the different rules that we're going to have per game. And already off the rip, Fade is not disappointing us from taking up space from not just the second floor of that final building, even the roof. He was basically, he looked like a chameleon. He was looking at 4 different players at once at one point and still was able to keep his shields healthy. We saw him lose a few shields, but it never broke though inside that building, which I think is very important to note because it was still the pressured respect that he was forcing onto other players.
I think he took the perk. I mean, I guess you have to, because the other perk is that you res teammates get health regen, which is pretty useless. But he took the perk for longer energized wall, which actually really helped, because then people couldn't approach the doorway that he was able to block off. I that was just such a well-played game. Watching that, like, from start to finish for Fade was very enjoyable, but we had a lot of other players that managed to make it into the top 4 even. I mean, Zap was right outside the door, and Sykes as well was playing inside this building. It just happened to be ultimately the building of death, as so many players converged on that small bit of cover, and there was no way to really make it out of there alive.
That's why coming in from that south side was pretty smart. It's very risky mid-game, though, in that point, just because you have to imagine the amount of open area that you're exposed to when you have to deal with a Preezy, Timmy coming in from the same side of Caustics. I'm wondering to see how that's going to play out into the second game. I also heard that Legendary Doll had picked Wraith to maybe trick people into fighting her, according to Tempo. So little strats that you could take and consider for the following game.
I thought that was a really cool moment, and I remember that it was Hal and Legendary Doll staring each other down at the beginning of this game. I wonder if that's a reason why neither of them took the fight. I mean, Legendary Doll's got Wraith, Hal's probably going, this is another pro, and by the same token, Legendary Doll is looking down and going, well, that's Wraith, it's probably a pro, let's pay some respect to each other.
Ooh.
And go our separate ways. A little bit of mental fortitude from both of them, and a risk-averse, certainly, in the first game, although I've no doubt that that'll have to change in the second, because, you know it, Vicky, the rules are changing. This game, pros had to use Wraith. Next game, that is no longer true. Instead, you may no longer use things like Rampart or Vantage, but you also can't use any guns. So
nope.
The game is going to change real quickly. It's going to get very up close and personal.
Are we gonna see the fused knuckle clusters? Will they be allowed? Will it be the drill from Mad Maggie? So many possibilities that I have in my hand. Are we gonna see the Pathfinder fisticuffs coming out to really duke it out with a lot of our other legends? It is still on Kings Canyon, I believe, here too. And as you guys saw the names right below us, I am not Noko and that is not Girl. That is our predictions going into Game 2 based off what we've seen already thus far after Game 1 and from our previous First Solos tournament that we had over at LAN. And we will also be able to get the leaderboards eventually here for our Game 1. That's going to be nice to note going into Game 2 to see who of our players have already walked away with some money in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, because it goes just game to game to game.
Yeah.
Everybody's already got some some nice prizing that they've been able to pick up, and I think that's good. It means that you can take a mental reset as well, and let's say Kings Canyon just isn't your map, you haven't been playing nearly as much of it in the rotation this split, well, you're going to have the opportunity to pick up essentially the same amount of prizing elsewhere. You don't have to worry about cumulative points over the tournament, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and that's really nice to note here too, because then you already know where you are when you're in the top 14, 10th to 14th, like you mentioned in the game, Dia. They already get some money for themselves, $100 going there. First place dropped, are very ready, very happy with first place walking away with 500. I said 400 earlier, but that's actually for the top 2 kill leaders. So 500 going over to first place, but that's also calculating the different KP that we could see from our other pros that are able to get the KP throughout the course of these 6 games. We'll have all those results for you guys very soon, maybe in the middle of map 2 here. We want to make sure that we are able to get everybody and all their scores situated, but with the no guns, no rampart, no vantage, and Kings Canyon for game 2, Dia, and now with a lot of our players already figuring out the pacing of how to approach solos with some heavy hitters in this lobby, I think things are going to get even heated.
I'm hoping that we get a little bit more experimentation than we had even last game, because we did see things like Newcastle, a lot of Wraith, obviously, and we had some people play in Horizon. I think I remember seeing a little bit of that over towards the north end of the map. What I am wondering about is whether we'll see people playing Altar, and if so, where Altar is going to be played, because that was like the thing that everybody was playing back when we had solos previously. But this is solos Inferno. It's a very different look. Altar's been out for a much longer time. Maybe people just aren't seeing the same value out of her as you might otherwise.
You know, it was nice because we all gentlemened to Altar for that final game. No one really, we that was the decision unanimously in the lobby. We're all like, okay, Altar only. That's why with like, I think we saw like 1 or 2 people didn't go Altar. They went their mains. I think it was like Wraith and Pathy that we saw, and the last one was like, okay, we got some professionals in this lobby. But it was interesting because Altar, no one knew what to do with her, right? They didn't know how to utilize her since that was the first time that anyone was able to try her out. Now, like you mentioned, we've had a few weeks now, over a month, to try out what Altar could bring to the table in solos. Let's see if that's utilized here too, especially now that we have the rules that you can't bring out your own guns.
You know what else I think would be fun is if we had some Ballistic. Ballistic is nuts this season. I don't think it's ALGS nuts, but solos? I think Ballistic's probably pretty good in solos. You take a 1v1, Ballistic probably wins those just because of his tactical, let alone the ultimate that is making you a million times better all the time.
Oh man, but you can't use guns for this game too. That's the one thing.
Not in this game. Not in this game.
Oh, you mean in the free? Okay. Yeah, we got to look into that. I'm expecting for game number 2. I mean, if it's not fuse galore, if I'm not seeing knuckle clusters light up my screen, then maybe that was ruled against. But I'm expecting that if it's not, that's what we're gonna be having in this lobby. Or you know what? Missile Swarm, Valkyrie. Like there's so many different other tacticals that I could think about that would be able to put in some pressure and damage. Even the Missile Swarm being able to kind of slow you down a little bit, as we can see now getting started with game number 2. Everyone, thank you again so much for your patience while we not only rally up the scores for game number 1, but also keep our eyes on these pros for game number 2.
Yeah, really important to see what they're able to rustle up. I know we've been talking about Fuse, and I think we've got a lot to look forward to there. Things like Maggie you mentioned earlier, and this could be probably the only game today where Caustic is really not that bad of a pick.
I love how Midas Step Plus remind everybody, no guns, abilities, and guns, okay, abilities and nades and everything. I don't even read the end part of that because I just saw Furlos, or rather Timmy, just send out the Missile Swarm.
This is not looking good. Pathy is running for his life. Noob King may be able to escape, but the mobility of Valkyrie is making it very difficult. It's a matter of just that last punch, because Noob King really is on 1 HP. The grapple helps quite a bit, and as surprising as it is, this early on into the game, we're actually seeing a full escape be pulled off by Noob King just because of the extra distance that Pathfinder grapple gives you.
Just Pathy things out here. Catch me if you can, for real. And he's going to be able to not only us to Levisa out of there towards Gauntlet, but so many other players have already got it ahead of the curve and ended up rotating towards where this circle was pulling. Not the similar circle that we had in Relic, maybe more so pulling over to the east side, but still pulling south nonetheless.
The fact that we're pulling south means that we could go caustic treatment, and
I
love the idea of us going caustic treatment for the end game. Verhulst picks up the Evo first, manages to keep it away for a little while, but going even in the trade of punches does mean that you just want to get out as fast as possible. You need to have an advantage. As somebody who recently had the privilege of, in a ranked game, dropping all of our guns and 1v1 fighting the enemy team, you want to get the first hit, or otherwise it's not looking so hot.
And oh, you know something else that we have to also hit with the different approaches that some of these players are going to be going forward is that Rev is banned, by the way, like all the way through, I'm pretty sure. So that makes sense, but that's just the one thing that transcends through the other games. As Sykes, top of this little platform, I need to see what he wants to do here. A man with a plan with the heat shield. All right, changes his mind. I also love that Valkyrie skin, but I wonder how this is going to play out mostly for the final circle. I mean, everyone's just going to duke it out with each other, or is it just going to be fused knuckle clusters everywhere?
I don't hate the Sykes strat, honestly. Like, this looks like a pretty good game to rat. Tony Romero is doing it again. Last game, Tony was just sat inside of a tree, didn't fire at hardly anyone, and actually still made it pretty close to the top 14. He may have snagged a top position. Verhulst is mainly playing this for Evo, it seems, since we got the chance to look at him earlier, moving around the map. But a nade, not quite connecting with him, does at least push him away. There's no sort of Evo cache that he manages to pick up on that care package, so he's managed to check it for what he wanted.
That's very true, actually. That's why he just got away. Not like getting any of those. Oh, the drill, though. We talked about the Mad Maggie coming through. I was going to say, it's not like he could really capitalize off of any care pack weapon. As he's getting away, it looks like Real Time is having his own fight against Control Ghost, who's trying to fly away. So we actually have a good amount of Valkyries in this lobby.
I will say, were I to be playing in this lobby, I would be picking Pathfinder just for the boxing gloves. I think that gives you a real mental edge. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The fisticuffs have to come out with no weapon games, and we do have 2 games like this where there won't be weapons allowed. Fade, the dedication's real. He's sticking to the Newcastle. He's sticking to the wall to do exactly what he needs.
I mean, Newcastle could be kind of crazy here, you know, because the wall, the electrification of the wall, you've got like this nice little area. The mobile shield, pretty useless, I will say, in this case. But I like the idea of it. Peebs might be able to get a kill here. Aprizzi doesn't have that much HP, but does have fences as he tries to disengage. Peep's going to follow him up on the balloon. Timmy and Noob King are going to, I guess, gentleman's agreement, this balloon themselves, they've got to get a little further into the ring.
Imagine Timmy's like, and then he just immediately just diverts in a different direction. But what's good is that the Valkyrie passive scans everybody in the vicinity, gets the Evil Harvester now as purple, and the Missile Swarm upgrade is always nice to see. That 3x5 goes a long way when it comes to trying to cover so much distance with those Missile Swarms, but also multiple enemies.
Here's the thing, Vicky. I agree with you. Weirdly, Timmy, I'm noticing it in bottom left of the screen, has gone for the increased fuel on the jetpack, trying to, I think, survive longer than anyone else just by being airborne. Somehow he gets hit. I don't know what hit him.
Wow, these evac towers are actually just the Pathfinder's arena. That's what we're witnessing across every part of Kings Canyon. Real Time running further alive. Torres has not stopped with the Mad Maggie. The Warden is coming to collect the payment that is due, sending out the Thermite, seeing if they can catch them. But I'm just wondering, you know, between all the nades that you know you're going to be carrying for a game like this, I'm surprised we're not seeing even more fuse.
Yeah, it is a little odd, but I guess people really valuing the mobility that a lot of other legends like Valkyrie bring. It's not so much about dealing damage as avoiding it. Low-key Ross trying to do that right now as Reptar chases him down on Altar. First time we're getting to see this today. The portal through the wall actually makes for a nice initiation / juke initiate.
Wait a minute. Oh, trying to bait him into the fences, though.
Oh, it's not his
fence. That's not even the fences. Are you kidding me? You pinched yourself. Reptar on the Altar, coming out on top.
That's I think, our first... Is that our first kill? I think that might be our first... It's not even done, by the way. Ross is still going to respawn. We've still got 50 players left. Timmy in the boxing map boxing match rather, down low, has connected for Flesh. Missile Swarm isn't going to quite connect for enough, but a lot of other people are paying attention to this, and Timmy's starting to burn. Woo! There's the Caustic.
You were talking about it earlier. Oh man, the Thermite's also being set on the ground. Timmy now running for his life, but guess what? As Valkyrie, he's gonna be able to get the free reset on top of these rocks and immediately pop the shield bat. It looks like the evac tower though was called in to maybe jump right on top of him, but he'll be able to pop the bat just in time.
Even like Conduit Lifeline could have been really good here. Imagine like the weirdly small amount of shield cells that you're expending for this. This is such a different game of Apex Legends than I've ever seen before. We did get a chance to see Fade on the high ground, just barely making his way up towards the really peak of the antenna, and I think he's almost got it. Sitting on the 3rd tier right now, struggling to continue on upwards, but he does get to oversee the battle arena unfolding in front of him.
Well, Sykes is playing Gargoyle on the edge of the lip. Verhos doesn't even see him. He just drops down. I wonder if it was Sykes who had the missile swarm earlier on Timmy from behind, because we knew that there was somebody else from behind him that wasn't the Valkyrie. But such a griefing spot. What we're witnessing right now, not normal Apex, but also the most Apex thing that the real ones could relate to right now, because it's just these different positions that these pros are also revealing on how they could approach being handicapped in this game.
I didn't expect the Ash pick.
Huh.
You can't force an engagement, right? You get an arc snare, and it's not like you're gonna be running anywhere. I see it from Zap. I like the thought process, and you know me. I'm hard selling Ash all the time, so.
The fact that we're just getting the tri-tower of Sykes in the middle, you saw ADA right behind him. Timmy jumps down from on top of Sykes, sees somebody land right next to him, and it's just because he knows exactly where this circle is gonna be pulling based off of what he has in store. Sees all the Watson fences too, by the way, from every building looking like a Picasso painting, and is just going to be able to craft this back because no one's going to approach him.
I think genuinely Sykes has been there long enough that he's part of the terrain. At some point, you become hard-coded as a wall, and doesn't even take damage, just like the wall. Sykes is chilling. Manages, again, to play over by this window. This is the scenic view section of the broadcast. But in the next couple of minutes, it's not so much this round, we may see a few players. Actually, taking a look at the kill feed, Control Ghost is on the receiving end of a little bit of hurt from Verhulst. But once this next round closes, not only are all the deaths going to be permanent, there's not going to be respawn tokens in the mix anymore, but you're also going to have a much smaller area to exist in, and that's where I think we'll really start to see the kills go down.
We're going to see what Gentlemen's end games really look like in some of our Apex games sometimes when you just drop all your items and you duke it out. But look at this mess. Girl right behind Confusing, who's right behind Paytonics, who's about to approach the next opponent here while so many other players are coexisting on the high ground. But it is these Watsons who are thriving that could put down the gen, avoid all the nade spam at the end of the circle.
This is some unhinged stuff. I did not expect to see Watson surviving into the end game, but it totally makes sense now. Like, seeing how, like you said, it can block the nades and it can control such a large area, all you've got to do to win the game as Watson is be there first.
Somebody check on Nox. He fell off the map. I wonder if he got kidnapped or something or punched off the map. I'm just very curious here. It's so much. As Hal also healing up on this Valkyrie, seeing if we can get inside this building. Surprisingly, at least maybe the fences that were dealt with, he's going to be able to get in here for free. Not really worried too much because he hears all the other action happening alongside him.
A Catalyst could actually go crazy here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Some doors, keeping everybody out. Not going to be not going to be a whole lot of good against the nades, but I don't think we're seeing it. That is very surprising. That is actually life-changing. Crypto in this game mode?
Who actually did this? Who actually went crypto right now? A genius, by the way. Like, you were about to freeze all the Watsons in this lobby that worked so hard to find a spot with these fences. I mean, look at this. We have fences in every corner while Timmy is just trying to get right on top of the tree. He almost found the angle, it looked like here, but unfortunately falls in. They see what he's trying to do. He takes the zip line, running for his life. Great angles here where we get to continue the chaos.
This is the round that we talked about, though, where we are starting to drop players. Already, we've lost our first. We're at 49 players in round number 5. Next couple of seconds should mean a lot more people fall. 48 as Tony Romero goes down to drops.
I don't think I've ever seen so many of these fences. Like, what chaos is this going to do to the game? 47 players left. Now people are starting to fall. Circle closing in here as Timmy, no one's punching him out. It's just all these different fences while Janie has other plans. Nobody focusing on her while she's pitched up right there on the top.
The Watsons are performing pagan rituals below, and the Valkyries are trying to reach the heavens. Timmy's actually got the strat. Hold on.
No way. What? You could be out there and it doesn't even count as no out of bounds too. What? Okay, well, that's definitely one thing to now note for some of these evac towers. But look at this from the outside too. His and hers safely inside of these fences.
I'm wondering when that next EMP is coming in, because you gotta be hoping that it happens sometime soon.
Oh,
His and
please.
hers has managed to, as you said, keep a lot of people away. Falling Stars is doing so much good as well, picking up arcs to wreak havoc on the rest of the lobby.
That is actually so huge here. The strats, the arc stars, the gens trying to also ignore the fuse pressure here. Seeing more players drop down while Evo Toaster now claims another victim. Hal still looking at the evac tower, seeing somebody trying to approach him before he tries to fly away. Here comes the fuse, the mother load on top of it, the missile swarm too. Timmy's still trying to fly up on the high ground, but Peeps has taken the tree that he's looking at.
Where's that last evac tower? Because now that we've seen the strat exposed, where you can sit on top of the evac tower with Valkyrie, we finally got a Fuse getting involved here. This is actually Fuse's worst nightmare. With so many Watsons around, there's hardly anything that you can do. Knuckle Clusters can only find purchase on so little of the map.
I just want to know, like, what this final circle is going to look like. Can the game and the frames handle all of this at the same time? Like, with the amount of Watson fences, gens coming in, maybe an EMP here if the Crypto is still alive. Hal gets tagged a little bit by the fence. The Crypto drone is flying around, waiting on an opportunity. The fact that nobody even knows where this Crypto is, and he's able to just leave that drone there is insane. Probably not walking around while nobody's going to be able to hit the drone because nobody's able to use a gun. That's why.
I tell you what, Vicky, there's a pretty good chance that we get to the end of this game, and I have no idea who's winning. Because there is so much chaos in this end game. I love the spot that Burles just found. He's using Watson's own pylon against her, manages to find at least a singular hit, while Hal gets to observe the scene, the amount of chaos that he is dropping into. Skyward Dive has not found him nearly enough time, but Fade's still in the game, because up goes the fence.
Oh, this is so much space that Fade just bought for himself for free. Here comes the
EMP!
EMP! Goodbye, fences!
It's time!
Oh my god! Everyone is gone! How is the game even running? Look at the Arc Stars! Look at Zap! Look at all the kills as Burles drops down!
This is too much. Toaster is collecting kill after kill, and the fences do the last bit of work to take everyone out as it's Zap at the end who managed to buy enough time with the Ash Portal to survive the chaos. Vicky, I could not have predicted in a million years that Ash would be winning this end zone.
You're kidding me right now. The Ash ult actually came in so much clutch, but can you also imagine tethering everybody at the end of that circle? Zap not only won that game too, did you see that kill feed? The way he literally lit up everybody with arc stars? I saw him get at least more than like 5 to 6 kills. What a game. I mean, we're gonna have to see what ended up happening by the end. How many kills all of these players were able to get by the end of that game, because I wasn't expecting. You know, I knew End Circle for no guns was gonna be hype, but the Crypto, like, coming in was such a, like, left field play.
I can't believe that Crypto even, like, survived until that point, because I get Crypto's value in the end game, but, like, think about the mid game where we had Maggies chasing down Valkyries, chasing down Pathfinders. Like, there's so much action, and Crypto has no mobility tools to survive all of that. Like, literally, how? How do you survive as Crypto into the end game? It boggles my mind, Vicky.
But he did it, and the EMP did everything that it needed to do for the very end. Seeing Hal fly over and seeing everybody that was still alive underneath him and looking at all the Watson fences was absolutely insane, Dia.
That was honestly really wild. And like, again, if that EMP doesn't happen, does Zap win the game? Can he actually throw the arc stars through the amount of pylons there? That's a real big question for me. I was having a lot of difficulty tracking what was going on. The very fact that we had our players able to somehow maneuver survivable situations on the low ground is really impressive to me.
It's great, and we still got so many more games to go, guys. We got a break right now on the other side, but when we come back, we got game number 3 with so much more Solos Inferno action.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Solos Inferno tournament, one of the craziest tournaments that Apex Legends has ever seen. Vicky, it has been a blast throughout our first 2 games on Kings Canyon. We had the first one, which was a little more tame with Wraith, but I'm still processing the trauma of last game.
Well, like, the fact that Zap just, like, deleted everybody with arc stars, like, what did he get at the end? It looked like he got more than 6-7 kills at the very least, but the way that so many people had to approach what legend comp that they were going to aim for, and the Ashe, the only Ashe in the lobby, ended up winning thanks to that portal. I mean, that was... I wasn't expecting no guns to be super crazy, but at the end, that was worth it.
Yeah, 100%. And I wouldn't have expected Ashe to be the legend to succeed with a no gun met. I'm a little baffled, if I'm honest, but really impressed, of course. This was a great game from everyone. Now we do get to go back to a little bit more normalcy. For the most part, everything is being resumed as per regularly scheduled programming. Our pros for this match can only use Pathfinder, so it's going to be a lot like game 1, with a little bit more grapple.
Okay, and we were highlighting Pathfinder 2 a lot, looking at just the amount of distance not only that Pathfinder could cross, but getting involved in fights and then getting out at the right time. Obviously, you passively regenerate that health on top of that because you are playing in solos. Aside from the fact that you get that sense that whenever somebody is nearby, so you could try to get closer to see who is within the vicinity, depending on where the circle is pulling. And we are getting out of King's Canyon, all right, done and dusted. We are now moving on to World's Edge.
I'm excited for that because World's Edge, you know, super familiar to a lot of these players. We've got our predictions up again. I respect that you've gone with Timmy here. I actually think that's a really nice one. I'm sticking with Girl because I didn't feel like the melee only match that we just got was exactly what
we
the easiest to predict, I think, is not what I thought was going to happen, yeah.
I agree. It's that, and that's not the only one, by the way, guys. Our final game on Broken Moon is very similar, where there's going to be no guns, no rampart, no vantage. Same rule set that we just saw in that game, too. Maybe Zap could live it up once again. We got to see if we get a 2-time winner, which would be absolutely insane with these rules in place, by the way. If we could see any sort of consistency, I would be very impressed. But now, with pros only using Pathfinder, Dio, what can you expect? I mean, we saw a billion zip lines at the end for the handful of Pathfinders we did get to see at the very least for a no-gun game.
Yeah, I honestly think that for the amount of Pathfinders that we have in the lobby, on World's Edge, it should be pretty chill. Like, I don't think that there will be a massive discrepancy between a regular game of Apex Legends and this. It'll just feel a lot more fun, a lot more fast-paced because of the, as you said, distance that Pathfinder Grapple is able to cover. If you get a favorable trade, you're going in, and if you take a unfavorable trade, you're also going to get out pretty effectively. And seeing these sort of like Tarzans go through the cement jungle is going to be quite exciting.
And so we're climbing on all the vines, swinging on them before we get into these buildings. But with the amount of Watsons I just saw in that last game, Dia, and we're going on to World's Edge, there's a lot more real estate to try to share that space if we see something like, you know, typical Skyhook Zone, you know, got Monument, Frag East. A lot of places that we know that World's Edge has to coexist.
And especially, like, if we get something really fun with a lot of height, like, let's say we go Epicenter or Thermal Station or something like that, or even Stacks, the amount of zip lines that you can get in those areas to completely change the angles of approach, it could be very exciting, Vicky. I think we've got a lot of playmaking potential in this game, and that's what really excites me about these maps and games where players are pushed into a specific legend that does introduce a whole new element to the game.
That's a good point. I was gonna say it's gonna look like a whole circus. I mean, the end of that game, I would be honest, that was a whole circus on its own. But with the results that we've seen thus far, dropped for those of you guys coming in late, won game number 4. Then we saw Zap pop off in a no-gun game at the very end on the only Ash pick that we saw in the lobby. For game number 2, he finished off with 8 total kills. We'll be able to rally up all the numbers that all our players have been able to accumulate over the course of the last few games.
That's a lot. That's a lot of kills. Like, most people probably didn't get nearly as many kills. Like, he must be just dominating.
It was arc stars everywhere. I'm like literally living up to his name, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I saw that kill. Yeah, I was like, there's no way.
I would bet that most people in the no guns match got like maybe 1 kill. I think if you made it to the end game, you might have gotten 2 if you were lucky. But making it like above 5 is pretty incredible because you got as like, you know, it's not like you have a limited amount of ammo in like a 301 or something, but like just because you can only punch so often, you do have a really limited amount of impact on the game outside of, like you're saying, the nades that were clearly useful. I was surprised we didn't see more fuse.
Yeah, I was generally surprised too. We saw some by the end, but for all we know, maybe the fuses were also taken out with the amount of Watson fences that we were exposed to. The EMP didn't help because if you blinked in the middle of that EMP, half of the lobby was already deleted. We had like 30-something plus players in that final circle. Like, if you guys know how chaotic end circles in Apex could get, especially when you're trying to gentlemen's, imagine with 30 plus players all doing it at the same time, trying to still stay alive, because at the end of the day, this is a $20,000 prize pool. Each and single one of these players are playing for money, and with 30 plus players in that final circle, it's only the top 14 that get to get the cash for that game too. So that is something to consider with what we already just saw. But also to add up, our kill leaders thus far after 2 games is Zap leading the way with 16 kills, and Paytonix, who is a diamond player, with 9 kills. And what we said earlier, for anybody who's platinum or diamond, they do get a 2 times multiplier on their kills. So the top 2 kill leaders of the day will be able to get a $400 player bonus.
Wait, so you said Paytonix has 9 kills right now?
So and if it's multiplied,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
What it says.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, because like, that means that it's not already multiplied, because you can't have 4.5 kills.
Exactly. So that's going to be multiplied by the end.
Yeah. This is looking good. Paytonix actually has an angle right now. This could be very exciting. Now, we are about to jump into our next game, so there will be the chance for other teams, or other players, I should say, because every team is a player, to catch up to Zap and Paytonix momentarily. Fortunately enough, Rampart and Vantage are back on the table. So we'll have plenty of opportunity to make use of those legends for whoever might want to on World's Edge. And I will say, if you're playing solos, Vantage is not a bad pick.
I can see that. I mean, Vantage in general, when it comes to also trying to solo queue, obviously, that's why you sometimes, if you have no team to really queue up for ranked, Vantage could come in clutch, because you also get to scan the ring beacons, the survey beacons. I'm theory crafting way too hard, like it's super serious, but I get there is money on the line, so to be honest, you gotta try hard no matter what. But I definitely agree, because also the repositioning advantage has knocked. Can't even catch a break. He doesn't even get a weapon the moment he lands on top of Trials, now forced to drop down.
Got a little while to escape. Keon's right behind him.
Oh, he's dead. Yep.
And now with the Nemesis as well. That's so unfortunate for Nock to have been dropped on with the Nemesis after being chunked out by the P2020. Now, fortunately, that's not it. If you get taken out this early into the game, you do get to come back, and Nock's actually rejoined the fight over in Lava Siphon, while Verhulst takes one in Lava Fisher.
Non-stop as we see Ali popping off versus Paytonix. One of our kill leaders that we were looking at earlier before we jumped into this game 3. Timmy escaping with the wingman and flatline. Obviously, I love to see all these pathies just grappling around here too, just flying. As Hao is right behind this Wraith player. He's got the PK in hand to see if he can try to catch him on the other side of the building.
Who is this on the other end? Hal doesn't look like he's got an angle right now and can't spend time kicking in the door. So it will be a full reset from Bolt. I think it might be Fade, genuinely.
The way he's moving, I think that's Fade. It is Fade. Oh, and he got the crack on him too. It was just the way he was moving. I'm like, I actually didn't even look at the map. I was like, there's no way that's probably Fade. And he did manage to get away for now, while bringing attention to those on the outskirts of Skyhook. Gets away and is also able to be on this Wraith pick. No more Newcastle.
And looks like he's got ice skates on constantly. Now, Dahl's going to pop away on Wraith, so has picked this up. I'd expected Dahl to go for something like the Pathfinder and follow up with that sort of like, ooh, am I a pro player, am I not strat that we were thinking she might have gone for in Game 1, but plays things a little bit more conservatively, popping into the comfort pick of Wraith and manages to get away. Nobody's actually taken engagement here just yet, as much as I did like the trap setting on was.
No, I think Circle is going to be moving over towards Landside, and Zap tries to keep up the domination that we've seen from him right through the windows, but he gets beamed from the other building. Now so low. I believe I hear the knuckle cluster, going off over by Skyhook. There's at least 6 other players here on the north side of Skyhook too.
try and get away from it. Doesn't want all that noise. Use Knuckle Cluster, doesn't connect either, but Peacekeeper at close range, really terrifying prospect. Out comes the Havoc instead, and Tony himself gets taken down in a half second. We'll be able to rejoin the fight, so we'll see where Tony ends up rejoining. Keep my eyes on the minimap as Zap looks down Imperial Hell. Looks like Tony himself is coming back up to Skyhook.
Oh my goodness, look at this circus. It's like we're in Cirque du Soleil for real. The way that they just try to grapple across on top of the building, creeping up in the crowd to see if he can catch Hal, who, by the way, is nowhere in the line of sight that Zap is expecting. He is gone. He is immediately north side of Skyhook, was able to grapple away. Well, now the zipline has been called in. He was holding that evil harvester for so long, waiting on more victims to try to get to that harvester.
Really nice that he's able to pick it up. Now, fortunately, was on blues already, so this is just a bump up towards purple armor, but it is one of those things that you want to get going early in games of solos, and so I'd like to see Zap continuing to move. Skyhook is nice, sure, but you want to move yourself up to purple and ideally red, and you can only really do that by either finding more Evo Harvesters or taking more fights. Ideally both.
Love to have everything set up to the table like a buffet here as we get to see the conduit. Okay, a little different look to get some extra shields here too. Those temp shields, and of course that ult that buys so much space. Also, you cannot complain when you have that gold Havoc in hand. So great loot before exiting out of Epi. There's 4 other players around Epi here too. Well, we don't even want to dive into Monument. Monument is just a complete graveyard right now as Verholz trying to take this fight here. Utilize the doors before sliding in with the TK shots coming in first before Verholz gets the crack.
Was it you who I was joking with yesterday? I mentioned this to somebody, that the Havoc is probably like top 2 shotguns right now, in the same way that the Havoc is like a top tier SMG. The Havoc is just top tier in every category right now.
You know, something about nerfing the SMGs have allowed some other guns to creep up into the auto meta weapon comps, such as the Havoc, such as the Hemlock. Something that we're absolutely going to see continue on throughout these games. Zap, you already saw him trying to get away, still walking blue evils, while Timmy on the purple sees Sykes, who misses out on that sniper shot.
Timmy, pretty far out of ring, but maybe this is enough to assure him that it's a 1v1. I would like to see Sykes and him just take the fight, see who comes out on top. This is like the pinnacle of NA controller versus MNK.
You know, I also think it's what a coincidence that it's also always Timmy and Sykes. Like, they both see the Pathfinder. They both know that it's pros fighting each other right now, but these two are always just around each other while Sykes tries to take the risk on calling out the zipline, and Timmy is not trying to let him get away.
Sykes really does not want to take this fight. Timmy's got an angle, and he spots him on the inside.
Oh, no.
I don't think you're getting away from this. Like, Timmy wants
danger.
the fight, but takes on height instead because the zone is closing in. As long as Timmy stays ahead of Sykes, they are going to run into each other.
I feel like this is like a different version of this, like Michael Myers just chasing down after his victims, and he's just haunting Sykes right now. Not the horror story I want to follow. Verholz inside of the building. There's a rampart, by the way, somewhere in this lobby. Obviously, Verholz may have just funneled them out because he's got 2 kills in the pocket while he now grapples, closing the distance. No Watson fences allowed, though. Very quick to set that up right behind the boxes. And Verholz cannot find an angle just yet before getting the crack here. Doesn't walk into the fences. He knows that trick. Oh, wait, but his kill got stolen.
That was rough. I was really appreciating Lamek's defensive setup. He was navigating the Watson really well, but Verholz was like really aware of where those fences started and stopped. The way too aware.
He knew the trick. There's always that trick with the Watson fences where if you combine them together, you stand on one spot, it hides all the fences, and when you see somebody walk in, you just stop outside of it. Then everyone gets stuck here as everyone gets stuck on the outside of the zone. Not so much pressure, though, because it's just round 2 closing in for now, but getting some extra health that you need as well as the goal alternator with those disruptors, obviously.
And Paytonix was able to pick up another kill, so staying ahead of some of the competition. This Asian boy slides on in. He's one of our few Horizon players in this game. We haven't seen nearly as much of it because a lot of our pros are moving on to things like Pathfinder for this particular round. It is going to be a slower approach to the ring, but unfortunately means that you have to go through one of these chokes. One is guarded by Imperial Hal, who's moving on down to the south, and with a Sentinel no less. Changed quite a bit. I'm noticing it's not charged just yet, but I'm glad we're fixing that.
Now, Breezy's on the other side of this choke here, who's about to get sandwiched. Charged up Sentinel, one time scope. He sees the Horizon ult coming out. Breezy can't even get away. He tries to grapple away and gets immediately sucked in before Hal now swoops in with the charge up Sentinel. Huge evil shield swaps though coming in too. Hal on the blue but gets the advantage, gets a crack first. Is he just better? He's got the Sentinel. Let's see the one shot here as he tries to heal up with the alternator in hand. Oh, yes, he
but
is.
it's not 119 to the face!
Oh, man, with the charged up Sentinel on top of that. Back to the skies you go as he now redeploys up from the sky. Huge Sentinel shots all around to his Sykes. Also able to get his own kill.
Oh, he sticks!
Ooh, was that a stick? Oh, it was!
It was, and the door's broken as well! Keon slides in for the kill. Man, that was difficult to watch. And he might get another as well. Already the shields come in and reset. The alternator sings and Sykes goes down!
Oh, I love the sound of the disruptor rounds. Not when you're on the other side, obviously. But, oh,
Yeah.
what a play from Keon. Nobody else there, by the way. 2 fourth party. He took care of the first and second party coming in. Nobody else to try to contest him here. But he will have to drop down eventually as we see the circle closing in.
That was just, honestly, smooth as butter. Being able to take those 2 fights, find the Arc Star stick, reset, take the other fight with the alternator. You just can't script a fight that clean. Now, Gent's looking for a way in the next couple of fights, and from the south side it is going to be difficult. They'll be having to face down monsters like Zap that are coming from a really similar angle, almost everyone converging right underneath the height of Landslide.
Zap looking like it's just another day at work here too. Just completely ruthless. Sending out Casey Dilla, 17 players left. Low-key Ross was also able to get Evil Toaster in your feeds here before seeing if he wants to get involved in the rest of the chaos over by Landslide. Alley-oop, 2 on the bang, gonna be able to smoke and get away before another player from right behind Jet is gonna take some shots at him. I believe that is still Zap that's on that incline.
We know Zap's got a Havoc as well. Real dangerous at these distances. Gent is seriously considering full sending it into the center of zone, it appears. Find out whether he's actually able to do it. Will actually take less damage whilst on this zipline. It's probably the only reason that Gent is marginally alive right now, but everybody else is left to fight it out in Landslide.
Yeah, not everybody is just as lucky here too. While they're forced off, Zap sees the cow. That catwalk went down Rick. Just as quick as it went up. And Timmy with the Kraber.
Now Zap, rocking the Havoc still. Gonna hit a reload instead of pulling out the Peacekeeper for the short range, giving Burholz a chance to swoop in onto him. Burholz cleans up that kill. He gets fired on by his and hers on the high ground who are running Caustic.
No way!
Past tense running Caustic. Kraber shot from Timmy puts a quick end to that.
From the low ground there too is crazy. That was a crazy angle that his and hers were on top of that platform, had height advantage, and then got domed by the Kraber from Timmy who was on the low ground. All right, well, we take those as now Timmy's gonna have to jump out from height eventually here. Circle closing in. Hal inching forward, still with the Havoc and now the Prowler.
I know that with somebody like Hal moving in from this side, you're playing a rock. I'm quite worried about this whole Timmy situation though. That guy's got 9 kills already in this game, and having the height previously, I think he's got a good spot. 4 players left. And we could see Timmy seriously rocketing up the kill leaderboards after this game. Hal whiffs the grapple!
Oh, he messed up so hard. Wait a minute, he may turn this back to his favor though. Different angle from Burholz rather. Gets on top of the height. Timmy coming into third party. Gets into an angle with the Kraber in the head, but he misses that one shot as Burholz takes care of Hal.
And now that third party comes in, Timmy tries to disengage, manages to do it for just a little while as Keon swoops in right behind Burholz, gets sandwiched and jumps onto the top of the cart. Kraber shot still. being thrown out this way as Verhulst falls. It's a 1v1. Timmy with one Kraber in his hand. One shot could make the difference. 140, and Timmy is in there like swimwear. Whips out the grapple, and now with the close range,
No
Kraber
way!
follows it up with the Mastiff, but he whiffs!
Not only that, but there was shield swaps that Keon had, thanks to the graveyard left by Hao and Verhulst. Timmy swooped in, knew that there was shield swaps, but still took the gamble on the Kraber shot at the end.
Oh, Keon had such a great game out of Countdown, but to clinch the win there, it's even chef's kiss. Mwah, so much better. First place from him is going to feel really good. And honestly, the way that, like you say, he was able to play around the shield swaps, very much earned.
Man, my Preds, not looking great, but it was so close.
Yeah.
I predicted Timmy to win that game 3, but Keon just played that card so much better. Can we also mention that Rampart wall? It was a mystery who put that Rampart wall, because we didn't see who was on that Rampart, but it played so hard into the last 4 fights of that game.
Yeah, like, imagine if, like, Hal had gone down a second earlier. Timmy never commits to the fight. Never ultimately, like, baits in Keon off of the third party as well. So many things had to go right, and so many things in that end zone really had to go oh so wrong. But Timmy still put up a lot of kills, and like we said, should be moving on up the leaderboard overall, as we've now finished our first half of the day. And that means that it's time for us to check in on where the kill leaders are. You had this earlier, Vicky, but where do we stand right now with the people who have gotten the most kills?
We have to tally up everybody's stuff, but at least in that game alone, Keon had 11 kills. Timmy, we saw him up on top with 9 KP. Verhulst was 7. Hal had 2 kills, playing much more passively that game. That's why it looked like he still had the blue havoc and such. He was trying to inch his way into that circle, while low-key Ross was able to obtain 3 kills. None of these players being the top players that we were looking at, the kill leaders being Zapto and Paytonix in that top 5.
Wow. I honestly, the fact that, like, Keon and Timmy managed to move so far up, I am surprised, because while I was seeing Keon show up in the kill feed, we only really got to see 2 of those kills, well, 3 if we count the end game, that were, I will give credit where it is due, so smooth. Yeah,
And honestly, even Zap, the way that he was able to start cleaning up kills, exiting out of landslide, but we saw what happened to the individual players that had to exit out of landslide and now play around what everybody was trying to throw at them when everybody was trying to see the action from Countdown. I mean, that was a very chaotic, but a lot of open space to coexist with when you have the natural rock formation to play behind.
Now, this game was really exciting because, again, we had like this fun rule enforced where we did get a little bit more mobility out of our pros, because it was like, hey, if you're a pro, you're going to end up playing Pathfinder. Next game is a bit different. It's not different in the same way as we had last map, where it was all fisticuffs until the very end. This time, we're actually letting loose. Revenant, you still can't play, but everything else is going to be normal. You get to play whatever you want. This is your breath of fresh air, especially if you're a pro and you've, had it dictated to you for the first little while of this tournament.
Normal, I guess, for now, until we get to what these different rules are for these different games, right? And it's the way that everyone has played into that normal, and looking at how they've been able to adapt, because I do have the calculated total kill leaders.
Okay.
And Zapto, in total, over the course of these 3 games, is sitting in first with 20 kills, separating himself, and in second place, Keon with 15 kills. That's the slight gap that we see, because then beyond that, the kill leaders that are not in the money yet is Timmy in third with 14 kills, then Asian Boy in fourth with 12 kills, and then Hal with 10 kills.
Dude, Asian Boy was kind of farming on the side of the ring, too. He got that nice sneak up, almost took down Hal. If it weren't for literally over 100 damage dealt to his face in one Sentinel shot, I could have seen him coming out on top of that engagement, and ultimately being one of the very few people to approach from the northeastern side of zone. Yeah,
and now that we're also still sticking onto World's Edge, we saw that one circle pool closer to landside on the outskirts, obviously. But now going on to game 4, this is the only game where everything is normal, like you mentioned earlier, Dia. So now everyone could duke it out like a normal solos match that we all get to play and witness in our own Apex games. But I feel like this could also be leveraged as a kind of prideful match of, you know, even when there's no rules in place, I'm still the better one.
Yeah, I you know what? I still see this as, yeah, very much like a continuation of what we've had earlier, where yes, while we are scoring these individually, being able to make your way up the kill leaderboards is really exciting, and I actually anticipate that for as much as we had a lot of our pros on Pathfinder last game, I don't think a lot of them will move away from something as powerful as Pathfinder and solos.
Especially with the amount of distance that you could cross. Like, I'm looking at the player chat, I'm cracking up, because Hal was saying, I should have just completely aped you, Noob King, when you jumped off that tower. Like, the different pros and their banter in these chats, spicing things up a little bit before we get into our next game, which, you know, seeing who we are predicting to come out on top in a normal game, you picked... It's Timmy, Dia. All right, so we've swapped a little bit, where I have now settled for Verholst.
Okay, talk to me about this, because like I was debating who to go with. I ended up going with Timmy because I was like, well, he had a really good game last game, and I feel like MNK actually has a bit of an advantage in these lobbies. In solos in general, I'm not sure, but in these lobbies, I'm liking the way MNK is looking.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, you know, as a fellow controller here, I do feel like I'm looking at frag out players, right? And Verholst is that player. And honestly, there's a lot of players that come to mind in this lobby. This lobby's pretty stacked. Fade was one of them in my mind. Zap, obviously, with the way that he's playing. But I don't want to go for the obvious choice, right? We know the players that could absolutely fry these lobbies. And I want Big E to really show up out here because we see him in these end games. But where is the KP that he needs?
That's a good, yeah, that's a good point. I actually, thinking about this now, I wonder if like World's Edge is just like a really good map for a lot of our pros, and we're gonna hit Broken Moon instead. All of a sudden, it's Content Creator Kingdom again, and it just like it goes crazy because Broken Moon is just they don't spend nearly as much time on it. I kind of feel like that could happen because Fade was dominating in the solos tournament that we ran again, just on Broken Moon. And I don't know. I don't think pros are nearly as familiar with all the ins and outs of the maps that aren't nearly as common and competitive.
And it's kind of like a blast of the past from what we've seen in that first tournament that you and Tiff were able to cover into what we're going to expect going into the next game after this one. So for game number 5, that's when we transition into Broken Moon. But it's not just the map change. It's the fact that pros can only use Alter. So... seeing how that's played out before for some of our pros that were able to make it work. And so earlier on, I picked Noko, seeing how he was able to adjust very quickly as well as a Prezi and Fade in that tournament. But the stakes are different here. There is $20,000 on the line, everyone, and we have a winner per game. So for each individual player that wins each different game, there is a different set of money to be won. So first place will always walk away with $500 per game. Second and third with $350, fourth to sixth with $300. I just have to reiterate the prize pool here because not only are these players keeping that in mind, that is what's going to influence their approach to these final zones and final fights.
And for those of you, who are tuning in, and for a lot of you likely discovering some of these content creators for the first time, because we've got a lot of them in the tournament, if you're seeing somebody and you're enjoying the way that they play, you want to get a little bit more insight into them, I've got good news for you. They're all content creators, so a lot of them are streaming right now, and their own gameplay in this tournament is really being showcased in a way that you can engage with. So I'd encourage you, if you see somebody you like their play, you think they did something cool, clip it, send it to them, go join into their chat and support the community, because that is, as much as we're focused on the competitive aspect of Solos Inferno, the real focus of these solos content creator tournaments is to be able to give everyone a lot of love and spread that thing that we've got so much of in the Apex community.
Amazing shout, Dia. Absolutely. The Apex community is literally like no other. It's been great to be able to see not only the great sportsmanship, but the friendly banter that we get to witness in these pro player chats. Like, imagine, in that situation with Timmy in that 1v1, that was essentially an $150 money match, Dia, between first and second place. That is the perspective that I am seeing it.
I like that. I like that. I love the idea that we could just like get a bunch of 1v1s happening for like serious prizing. Like I said, it's $150 that you're fighting over. Does look like we are returning.
Oh.
Keon actually is moving back over to Sky West, so could be taking a 1v1 up against Noct one more time. Vifei goes down to Zap quite quickly, but fortunately with the respawn token, we'll be back in the game.
Back and at it again, just as quick as we've already found ourselves trying to loot up. Another fight, though, happening over to the side. Remember, this is a normal game. All things considered, this is where the weapons are going to really show up as Lucas Boy gets a kill of his own. And Tony Romero is pretending to be one with the environment, it seems.
I don't know where Tony finds his spot. This is
I
crazy.
didn't even know this was a... I'm so upset right now.
Imagine if we'd had this
so
for the
bad.
hide-and-seek tournament.
I wish I knew that this even existed. Like,
Yeah, if
didn't
we
we
had
have an
this tech.
overlooked circle, Dia?
I'm serious. Like, looking at the way that Tony Romero is playing, I am gonna go and watch his stream and take notes on the rat spots because I need these. Like, I really do. Now, Legendary Doll could make use of them as well. Now that she's gone out a little bit earlier on into this game, you do just have one life left. But Timmy, my boy, this is my prediction for this game. It's already kicked it off with 2 kills, and he's got a nice angle on an unsuspected cabin.
Oh, there he blows, though, with the Havoc. Nice tracking, lacking on some loot, though, as he tries to catch that cat before sliding back. And you thought, but he's Pathfinder, and Timothy is Himothy, as he not only gets the kill, but also claims the title of kill leader for the game.
Vicky, I am aghast at the fact that he managed to swoop in just before the door got reinforced. Now, this isn't looking too good for the remainder of Geyser, as Timmy is coming in on a third party this time around, and with the Havoc, cleans up Zap, who had just won the 1v1 against Usugai.
Timmy's literally breaking ankles right now. Like, that is crazy. Zap broke his neck trying to chase after him. Just like real time right behind Casey Dilla, who was able to get that final shot with the triple take. Oh, my gosh. It's been so fun. But non-stop action, though, in the kill feed with 48 players left already.
And Legendary Doll did not end up playing passive, did not end up trying to, play safe till the end game. Has already picked up another kill, is right back into the action. Timmy's watching this, waiting for, again, the chance to third party, as that was the focus earlier on in Geyser.
I believe it's Control Ghost that's right in front of him on the roof. He hears him. Does not see him, and there's another player inside. It's Zap on the other side.
This is a bit of a distraction. Timmy gets the better end of the trade, comes around with the Mastiff. This is MNK territory, but he whiffs
way.
3 separate times. Timmy, no! Zap picks up the kill and now gets to turn around on the awaiting third party themselves. Might be able to pick this up as well, but it's going to be as to whether he can kick this door in fast enough. Does knock it down. Spade attempts to escape inside the depths of Skyhook. Can't open the door. Turns around and somehow stays alive.
Yeah, that was a really good place, Thermite, though. Like, the Horizon already knew inside that you can't go anywhere when you pop the Q on Wraith. You can't open doors, but my goodness. If I was Timmy, though, I put down the Massive just for right now. Just, it may not be one of those days. Sometimes you feel yourself on certain weapons, and we know that the Havoc, obviously, no problem in Timmy's hands.
Noct takes out Evil Toaster, who had a nice showing in game number 2 on Newcastle. Fade with a gold RE45 should have an advantage in a fight where he's able to do a little bit more damage first. Hammer points, of course, incredibly useful, but do have to be pretty careful up against Crispy. That is some crazy movement tech out of Fade.
Not even surprised. And he's got the RE45 with the heavies? Oh, no, I'm out of there. Just as quick as that Loba's out. He's about to die, though. You have nowhere to... Oh, okay, wait. It is a little difficult to track, but the last bullet hits, but it gets stolen by somebody else. It is Girl on the other side.
That is crazy. Having all that be lost.
Wow.
Crispy's healing up. Not giving away any audio cues as to where they are.
Oh, no. Trying to get away while Girl is right there setting up the caustic traps. Fade finally gets Crispy at the very end, but that took some time.
Girl, or as I will now exclusively reference her, G Money. That is honestly going to be pretty happy with this position, is moving forward from the north side of the map, and he may even encounter Timmy as he can come down from the train tracks and have an advantageous angle, but that was Reptar being erased in case you missed it. Timmy is, again, not playing passive, as so many of our players who get knocked first have the option to do. Instead, is going super aggressive, gets a shield swap as well. Now the opportunity to engage on high ground should he so desire.
Oh, clears out all the fences. Free Gen 2 for Timmy. If he wants to keep pressuring out Kristep, who's on the high ground, while low-key Ross actually trying to rotate off this high ground, seeing confusing Cutie on the other side of the glacier. Doesn't want to overcommit though, while Cuties continuously looks at them.
This could be helpful. 2x4 on the Sentinel. You get an opening crack like this, and all of a sudden, you're sending it all the way into the dead center of Epi. A lot of people converging around here. Miss, don't miss. Barely alive, but finally getting a little bit of a health regen that comes with solos. Will Timmy get this? Swing with the Havoc? Instead, no. It's a fight against a shotgun. Nice angle with the Mozambique. Has a lot more of an advantage in a situation like this, but doesn't finish off the kill.
Especially with those hammies. And then on the other side, Timmy can't catch a break. Oh, but thanks to the Arc Stars dropped by the Watson gen, the perk that we now know that Watson was able to actually acquire.
I really wonder, like, if the Watson who placed the gen dies, what does it keep that passive and only?
It looks like it. It looks like that's actually crazy. I didn't know that at first because I've never been able to like play around a Watson gen without the Watson completely like exiting out of the game just yet. So seeing that is actually really interesting. While Fade escapes with his life for now, barely, but is able to get away.
Sykes is on the chase. I wonder how long this will last. 10 seconds left on the next ability for Wraith to escape. Might be able to pop into the void for a second, but Sykes does get cut off, so it looks like Fade will be able to reset fully on the low ground. Boom Razzle doing him a solid, making sure that Sykes can't follow up nearly as quickly.
Whew, Fade can't catch a break. Noko on the other side, though, putting in some fire onto Sykes. On that conduit, too, once again. Huge to note that we've been seeing the conduit in this regular solos. The beam with the Havoc.
Whoa.
The last shot, more than enough to do it. He hears somebody on the high ground, but Boom Razzle with the huge Senti shot was able to take a huge chunk out of Sykes.
Unfortunately for Sykes, who now has to disengage, he's got Fade and Boom Razzle right behind him. Does have a shield swap in here should he need it, so actually holding up in a situation like this could work to Sykes' advantage. Fade doesn't look like he has any heals. He's been sitting in that building for a long time and still hasn't moved anywhere past Flesh.
This is my pick. Verhol sliding down with the Bangalore. Taking shots with the Nemesis and Havoc, running double energy with some lackluster ammunition, though, to work with. Girl is creeping up from right underneath here. G-Money coming through, though, showing where the big bucks are. She's creeping up from behind Verhol, who's unexpecting of somebody who's from underneath her. And then he comes in, scoops up the kill, and oh my goodness, you know how Verhol is feeling about that one. She continues on with the Mozambique.
Remember, she's got traps down here as well. G-Money gets away with the murder, dipping back down onto the low ground. Nice play, and get to continue that for the next little while. She doesn't have to move with the zone. Fade, not nearly so lucky, is going to have to relocate on the next zone close. This one just makes the noose a little bit tighter in the northwestern side, where so many individual players are stacked in survey camp.
I don't know if Fade is on the sticks, but he has not been able to heal up that shield. And the same cannot be said, though, about
surely
Keon.
he doesn't have them, right?
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, we haven't seen him been able to heal up for quite some time, so that's probably the case here. While Keon's got everything available to him at the moment.
Hal takes a kill. That's Noob King going down.
He got his revenge.
Unfortunate.
He was saying in the player chat, he was like, "You're so lucky, Noob King." Well, guess what? He ends up getting the kill in the next game anyways.
Yeah, next chat, it's going to be a light. Noob King is going to be firing back. Hal's got the chance to continue, however, after that kill. 104 does open things up nicely. Doesn't even hit a reload, just slides down onto Miss Don't Miss. Picks up the singular KP, and we'll continue moving on. Not that much further to go, as he is largely an epicenter, where somebody like Keon actually has to cross a pretty great distance moving up to the Macaroni building on high ground.
Let's not forget that Keon has been popping off today. He was right behind Zapdo in total kill leaders with 15 kills, continuing on with 6 KP this game alone, and he's got the zipline set up to avoid any more circle pressure with the ring closing in right behind him.
Does keep an eye on the Catalyst rotate down below, but does need to be focused as well on who could come from behind him. I think he's got a kill here, and yes, he does! We move down to just the top 17. We're moving close to prizing, Vicky.
Here we go. He's going to stay in it, though. Envy's low. Side still gets a shield swap. Automatic health advantage. And cleans up what is left of YNV. He's playing, though, off the low ground. We did see a little flyby earlier, Dia, of Epi. And we know that Greek was playing his own game of Apex. Hiding behind the corner of one of the bins, I believe, closest to the replicator north of Epi. And he is still there unseen and unheard.
Might actually get away with it for a long time, too. I mean, this zone, it doesn't look like it's going to exclude those bins. Hal's playing off low ground right now and should be running into Timmy soon. That's Sykes right behind him, caught between a rock and a hard place. Hal's going to ult for a little bit of cover. That's 2 smokes gone, doesn't have anything else, and needs to make the full rotate.
I'm wondering who's on the height right now. We know that Timmy was here earlier in Epi. Is he still playing off that low ground? Did he fight for the high ground? Well, coming up from right behind, though, the fuse gets deleted. It is Asian Boy who gets taken out by Hal.
A little bit more HP for Hal as well since he finds the shield swap. Timmy has made it up to the high ground right above, but Hal's collecting kills on low ground, taking down my boy Tony Romero. G-Money is still approaching from the southeastern side of the zone, and Keon can't zip in just yet.
My girl coming in with the plan. No head glitch here, though. Keon having to back away. The respect, and he gets taken out as Girl now swoops in. Lamik is able to get the shield swap, but he's getting shot in 2 different directions. G-Money is coming to collect her debts.
She claims the high ground, but now has got to fight Timmy, who's come up. And unfortunately, G-Money does get caught. Timmy moves up at the perfect time to do so, and now it's Gent who's left on the high ground, Hal on the low ground, last 3 players, and Gent is now caught between Timmy and Hal.
Oh, good timing, though, for Hal. While currently Timmy is focused on Jet. Now, Hal could creep up from the low ground, take some points. Jet is stuck in the middle between both of these insane players.
I don't like this position for Gent. I don't like it one bit. He is able to survive holding on to some of the bins, but remember, with Timmy looking down on both of these last 2 remaining, in air quotes, squads, it's going to be a matter of who takes the fight first. Surely Gent and Hal don't send Timmy on the high ground, who we at least can see has a shield swap available.
Oh, that is busted. He's got 10 kills, too. He's just been running it down in this lobby. Hal still finds a little angle, though. Takes some shots onto Gent. Now he's going to try to wrap around with the final circle closing in. This is it, and Gent is able to heal up. But where does he go when everybody is looking at him? Timmy and Hal are not letting him go.
I'm so sad for this. Remember, I predicted Timmy, so I'm sitting here going, is this our voice from the outer world? Will he be able to do it? Hal starts moving up on Gent, and I think this is the way it's got to be. Surely this fight kicks off before Timmy comes in for the third party, and it does. Gent melts immediately. Hal barely takes any damage, and now it's down to a 1v1. The old Gen of Apex, the new Gen of Apex.
Oh, but he's stuck with the thermite right in front of him, the circle closing in right behind, and Timmy is in such a better position. Literally God spot to win this game, just for him to take this fight versus Hal.
Smoke causes quite a bit of clutter, though. I think Timmy's lost track of where Hal is. Drops down and tries to open things up with the Mozambique. Almost every shot hits. He gets the shield swap, and Timmy does come through. The voice from the outer world. The new Gen of Apex takes the win in game number 4.
Can't let Dia down with the Timmy W. He came close in that last game, flubbed, but made sure that game number 4 wasn't going to happen the same way. Held his position patiently, takes game 4, and with a hefty amount of kills. My king
in game number 4. Finally, I get a prediction right.
It
It's
was
so
tough.
hard in solos.
Especially when you have to look at 50 other players and the way that everyone has been able to play into these final circles. Can we also talk about the fact that Timmy, just in case for insurance reasons, had the shield swap right next to him that he still went for the moment his shield cracked when he knew that he still had the winning advantage?
Yeah, you know what? I was surprised at the way that played out. Like, him drop, I would never in my life drop down to open with a Mozambique. And then to get the shield swap, like, quick thinking as well. I appreciated that from Sykes. I saw Sykes earlier on hit a shield swap, and I was like, wow, we're seeing controller players prioritize shield swaps in close range engagements. Sykes must be so confident on being able to hit that quickly.
It took a little bit, but it was more than enough for him to at least win that last fight that we saw. I also love the more patient plays, like the one that we saw from G Money Girl herself, gonna be able to creep up from behind Verhulst, take care of Verhulst in the third party that he was not expecting. But it's been nice to see how things have been wrapping up now that Timmy concluded not only with that dub in that previous game deal, but with 11 kills to his name.
Huge amount, and should be moving up the kill leaderboard as we speak. You did mention we got to tabulate things between games, and we're going to take a quick break to do that right now. So grab some water and settle in, because our last 2 games of the Solos Inferno tournament are coming up right after this. And welcome back. Solos Inferno tournament continues. And Vicky, we've got a lot of excitement already having taken place today. Now, we're going to shift that context a little bit because we got a map change and we got a rule change. So it's a lot to cover moving into our last 2 games.
Absolutely. We'll be now moving on to Broken Moon, where pros for this 5th game can only use altar. For anybody tuning in late, maybe you saw some pictures on social media at the end circle that we had for game 2 where there was a billion Watsons hanging out. Well, you are in the right place. Welcome everybody to the Solos Inferno tournament. And now that we're moving on to every pro rocking the altar, by definition, pros are the players that are currently competing in the Apex Legends Global Series. It makes things exciting, but also highlights what we could expect on a map that's found itself going through some changes into this season on a new legend.
Now, we've got a lot of players competing, of course, in these games, but we've taken the liberty of predicting who we think is going to win. Vicky, I noticed that you've gone with Timmy. I think that's a gentleman's choice. I certainly applaud you for that. I've moved over to Noko because of what you mentioned midway through the tournament, Noko being one of the first players to actually play and win in solos with Alter before the season even began. I gotta put respect on his name.
Oh yeah, you know, it was Noko and Fade. Like, that, it was, you know, my first interaction in that tournament, I believe I was trying to loot up like a no-name POI on Broken Moon. Understand that Broken Moon changed so much, I was like, where am I? I feel like I was not only doing the walking simulator, but trying to be like, oh wow. And then Aprizi just swooped in on the Pathfinder and then absolutely like headshotted me with a charged up Sentinel when I was on my way to an Evil Harvester. Something that we are absolutely going to be seeing in a lobby like this, as all 3 competitors that we just brought up are competing in this lobby, but kind of bringing us back to that experience, Dia. So I do not fault you for picking Noko, because I believe he was the only one that won more than 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, put up a really impressive performance. One of the things that's nice as well, you and I have mentioned that today's tournament is like prized game over game, and so if you're first place in any given game, you're getting $500. If you're 10th to 14th in any given game, you're getting $100 for that individual placement. So one of the nice things about this, I think Noko's got really good mental, right? It's getting a little bit late into the day. He's got a little bit of a competitive background, but importantly, he's a cheery guy. And I think that with that, plus the experience he's already got, I think we could be cooking up something here. I might get a second prediction. It's a lot of players.
Listen, if you get it this time around with only 1 player out of the 50 that we're going to have in this lobby, it's really hard to make an accurate pred for solos, but the consistency is still showing itself. We're still seeing how in these final zones, Timmy, of course, here too. So it's very possible, as we can see that Timmy, that game around, didn't want to risk the $150 1v1 in that case, like he did in game number 3. All right, so the comeback was definitely real, but maybe this time around, making sure that he could take that first place prize in his pocket.
And I mean, it's really nice to be able to get the, like you said, $150 money match in a tournament like this, and it's so many big names. Getting the just champion screen is literally completely surreal to me. To be able to do that in any context would be really impressive. Now, one of the things that we've been keeping track of in the overall leaderboards as well are those players that have the most kills over the course of the day, because that is one of the areas where we've got a lot of pretty stiff competition. Vicky, I know that we've talked about it a little bit. Do you want to reveal the sort of top contenders for this right now?
Yes, so after that game that Timmy won with 11 kills, it shifted the top leaders, kill leaders now overall, where Timmy now is sitting in first place with 25 kills. Zap still, though, at the very top in second place with 23 kills. But Dia, for how long when Keon is right behind Zap with a 1 kill difference with 22 kills? Hal right behind him with 20 kills, Asian Boy with 16, and then there's that gap between Asian Boy and Hal with that 20 kill difference, 16 kills, 15, drop 14, and the action though, as I said, I mean, I guess add another kill to the list because now Hal has 21 kills.
Yeah, he's like, you know what, this is actually a little too close for comfort. Let's just move things on up, and he does so marvelously. Everybody's already taken their leave of the dropship, which is nice because the kills are already starting. It is one of the more intimidating things, I think, in Apex Legends, where you're just landing, you're just starting to loot up, and you hear the first blood notification. That's what's just happened to everyone else. They know there's a monster about in the lobby.
I mean, the way that Timmy's playing this out here, too, like hearing and seeing the kill feed lighting up. I mean, at this point, for the top kill leaders, it's just a kill race. So that's what they're aiming for right now, as Hao looking to try to claim another victim, slides in with the wingman, holding this so patiently, unscared though, but he gets beamed, now forced to play around the door.
Mozambique on the other end of this engagement. Jen looks for an entry in. Hal's going to take the exit almost immediately. Meanwhile, Zap has gone down, and Keon in another engagement, just playing things a little long range. Triple take should make things a little safer for him.
So worth it, though, with so many other players right behind you on the kill leaders. Remember, it's only the top 2 kill leaders for the day that end up getting paid out that extra $400 in their pockets. So Keon now taking a much safer approach on his way to an Evo Harvester, while Hao coming up on top after that engagement with the 1v1 sees Reptar approaching.
I mean, hitting for blues is pretty big. Already has a lot of damage dealt, however, and Reptar does a real nice sneaky play with Alter and picks up the kill on Hal. I love Alter on Broken Moon. Such incredible playmaking. And Zap gets the better end of that as well up against Alioop.
Oh, you love it. You get to see the Alter come out in full effect. Especially when this was the first look that we had at LAN in that Solos tournament with the Alter zipline, though. Where can you go when you're a sitting duck? And the Hemlock is taking some free shots as Zap gets another head claimed while still being in the top 2 kill leaders.
That's the last time I'm trying to run from Zap. Even on the zipline, which takes you so much faster. Still going down. Now, Girl's getting some knocks. Timmy goes down in the kill feed as well. That's 1 life off of him, and Fade is starting to ramp up as well. The excitement is palpable in this first game on Broken Moon.
You're so unlucky. Every time I pick Timmy, something happens here.
It's okay, it's just his first life.
Alright, for now, we gotta say he's gotta play that second lap to influence the way that he approach some of these third parties as Hal gets another crack. Everyone is just flying into Hal's peripherals apparently at this point. About to get maybe another kill here. We did see him lose this fight earlier on versus somebody else here, but still playing around the same building.
Fortunately, Atmo Station got a lot of verticality that you can use. Now, with Alter, Hal can engage this really whenever he wants, should get the bat off, and does so, even as the door will no longer be playable space. Now he's going to move this a little bit more conservatively. He has plenty of ammunition. The Wingman's a great opener, but he needs that start of damage just a little bit sooner to the engagement this time.
Especially when you only have like 12 energy ammo in the reserve right now on that Nemesis that destroys your ammunition. Dropped involved in a fight outside the circle, playing around the heat shield, trying to call out the very low flesh player on the other side. Now dropped though in the line of sight of another player. That's the fight for the Evil Harvesters that we always expect to see here too.
Now, Dropped has an evac tower if he wants to just move past this fight. Would have to do so by going through quarantine zone where you know a lot of players are going to be. But the option is there nonetheless. It looks like he may even try and take the long way around, moving instead over towards, I believe, Stasis? No, he's in Stasis, and he's going to be moving out towards Eternal Gardens this time.
Where there's
not bad, but it will mean
players.
that it takes a lot of zone. Yeah.
Yeah, you're about to land on top of, what, 4 people here? We got to see, because playing on the edge of the circle, G-Money Girl coming through. We know that Sykes is on the other side, so is Zap. Timmy is also making a presence as Verholz tries to navigate through this middle area.
This is what I was talking about, though. You remember earlier I said it's tough to get going when you miss out on Evo early on. We're still seeing some players walk around on white shields, and it is almost impossible to recover from that. Keon going to dip right back. He's got the ability to use the Void Nexus should he want to sort of cheese out an interesting rotation here, but is going to take the long way around and look for a different way to play this game.
Still seeking out blood, though, but at what cost when you know that you're going to get pinched inevitably? Do you use that Nexus here? It may look like you want to do it, and there you go, Dia. You called it out before. Now he's going to be able to be right behind the perpetrator that was trying to chase him here, sending out the nade just in case that player that was chasing him ends up taking that phase rift.
Doesn't look like he connects for much. I think the nade perhaps a little bit too early. But Keon is wrapping again, trying to create a sandwich situation onto where he just portaled out of. Now Zap's going to have to move into the ring. We know he's got an engagement right ahead of him. Also has the Void Nexus available, but if Keanu leaves, then all of a sudden Zap's rotation becomes a whole lot easier. Might even be able to make it on foot, though he's not going to find a knock off of that evac tower.
Oh, no, and he's going to have to walk it into the edge here. That's something that he has no problem, obviously, doing. Seeing how many else is within the area. Squads that are being rotating away from Terraformer. Sykes involved in a fight, though, versus Timmy, who has less health than him. He cannot clutch it out. And Timmy, on that last life, that is it for the winner of our last game. 35 players now left. Oh
my god.
Free? For free?
What, Sykes? Just turned around and took him out like that. Now, Vife's right ahead, and I'll be honest, after seeing what Sykes just did, I wouldn't be wanting to pick this fight. Doesn't look like Vife's got too much of a choice, though. Manages to disengage for a little while, but climbing up this rock, you still need to find time to actually hit the bat. She just may, as Verhulst takes down Casey Dilla.
Can't miss those shots here. Verhulst barely taking any damage. You saw the smoke ahead of him. The Arc Stars hurtled in his direction, seeing the other player who's got the L-Star in hand, but Verhulst has the Nemesis crack for crack as he backs off in time.
Dropped, taking out We the People. As Keon fighting Verhulst right now. Again, this time they don't trade even. It's Keon that picks up the kill, maybe looking for his second win of the day. Is certainly finding plenty of kills. Sykes goes wild in the smoke, but through it, struggles to find a few shots and doesn't want to drop down onto the low ground, forfeiting an otherwise great position. He's got a portal up behind him. That's Vife that's just come in. Somehow these two players are still right next to each other.
Vife cannot get a break while Sykes is kind of cooking this game out here. Kill leader with 5 KP, still on the hunt, has some extra energy ammo since it looks like he's lacking just a bit here with the Volt in his hand. 30 players here left, finds the crack right there before they drop down with the blue Evo. Now trying to slide in, feeling very confident in his position before finally taking care of Vife.
You gotta feel bad for Vife. Like, yeah, she played that really well, but unfortunately, nowhere close to being able to compete with the damage that Sykes was putting out so many times. Now, Fade returning to the game with Newcastle. Made this look really good when we were over on Kings Canyon. Seems like it's going just fine for him, at least in this game. Everybody converging on Atmo Station, where Hal began the game with a few kills and still reigns supreme.
I need to know these plays with the Newcastle out here. He did lose out on a bunch of health in this trade. Now he's going to be able to pop the shield bat, though, before sliding in to closing the gap. The circle's closing into his back. He's about to get ganked up, but he's got the deployable shield ready to close it in with him.
That was such a crazy play. Now Keon tries to turn this around, but the mobile shield just super responsive. It's giving Fade a lot of ability to really trade in a completely unanswered way. Let's not forget he's still got the ultimate available, but the zone's ticking away on him. Fade is going to go down. Can Keon even survive the zone as he emerges from it? He will be taken out. It's Drop that picks up the kill and then immediately gets roasted alive.
Are you kidding me? There's just the fact that Dropped is waiting for everybody on the outskirts there. Circle keeping, what, 4 different players? Like, even if Fade won that fight, he was dead no matter what.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him. I think he really tried his best, but Newcastle doesn't make it to this end game. In between the reloads, Zap ends up finding a kill on Sykes, finally shutting down the monster that has come from the south side of the map.
5 kills here, too, for Zap. While Tony Romero, once again, is on a mission, Dia. He's playing his own game of Apex.
Dude, Tony knows. Tony gets it. I am there. I stand with my man, Tony, who has been huge chilling, finding the craziest rat spots in every game. And you know what? He's made it into the top half of players consistently every game with plays like that.
I actually gotta give Tony some love out here to see where some of these spots are to use them in the future, because that's actually so consistent. Drop gets dropped by Zap, coming right back in. Well, we take a look at Confusing Cutie, seeing people flying from up above. Where will they be landing here? Trying to slide down, pop these shield cells in time, and hearing those footsteps on the other side of the fence behind them.
Now, In the meantime, Hal was taken down, and in the center of Atmo Station as well. This is his second life, so Hal's not going to be coming back into the game anymore, opening up a lot of space for those that were in Atmo Station to take the crown and likely take a little bit of high ground as well. Nice kill from Keon to take out Favorite. Still has to make his way in towards the next zone. Sykes, now on his second life, could end up falling here.
Ooh, oh my goodness, those
But
shots.
Fade.
My goodness, he took that massive shot to the face for that first hit because he got deleted after that. Fade, still alive, coming out on top and still claiming KP Dia.
I can't believe that Fade... I always forget about the second life, especially this late into the game. It is just now that that is no longer an option for our players, no matter how many lives you've got left, and I guess you really only can have one. You no longer have the option of respawning in a zone that is this late. So Fade died just in time on the outside of ring to be able to respawn and then claim a kill. Verhulst picks one up, and we've got... Is that Tony Romero?
No way!
Of course. Who else would it be?
Oh my god, another one! This is the best. This has been amazing. Tony Romero, a man on a mission, while Verhulst, a man taking his shots here before getting pressured out by the player holding the height. Wonder if that's We the People, because we know there's 3 different players holding that middle building here. So you could coexist in a lot of different floors, whether it be the very big rooftop, maybe inside one of the buildings on that rooftop, or even that bottom floor.
Burhult's got a long way to go. You don't have a lot of ways to close gaps as Alter. You go through walls, but it's not quite the same thing. We the People is preparing the shield swaps up on high ground. Should have a few to play with, but only on blue shields right now. Does need to take out the purple, not just for the health, but for the Evo. The extra trait that'd be available. Now, Thebes is really nicely gatekeeping this. We're playing a bit of a game of chicken, but despite the fact that that's caustic, it ain't G-Money down there. His and hers are playing up on the high ground, right underneath We the People.
Oh man, and Verls is still cleaning up everybody on the outskirts of the building. Just looks like another day at work here for Verhulst. Gonna be able to get some extra loot that he needs and then get... Oh, well, that's not what he intended to do. Hopefully he lands on the death box.
Now it's...
Look at Tony Romero's positioning. Look at this. He's an owl on the tree.
I think he actually might be like dead in the center of zone as well. The People does find a crack. Fighting up against Caustic in the middle of all these barrels is a bit difficult, though. That extra range on the toss does come in clutch. His and hers need a way out, and We the People is just tanking the gas, hoping to pick up the kill on them. 42 off the Arc Star, and the gas starting to expire. Does mean that his and hers go down to the ring of all things. We the People now getting access to that last perk, and just in time. 4 teams, 4 players left. Tony Romero, the pacifist's playbook author himself, is sitting right behind Zap, and in the thermite, Zap is getting cooked alive. Tony Romero picks up a kill. My king manages to survive, gets the Valkyrie ult immediately canceled, and really now, there's not a whole lot else that he can do. We the People's gonna come on down. We'll see what Tony's able to do, how he can survive his fate, and We the People take the fight.
Oh, I cannot believe our last 3 squads left, and Tony has done it. Fade with Red Evo, though, massive in hand, plays around the crates. We the People, though, trying to look on the other side while Fade is fixated on Tony. He finally gets taken out. It's a 1v1 between Fade and People.
Fade's got it every day with a Mastiff shot like that. Newcastle triumphs. And oh my lord, Fade, who got so close in Kings Canyon, finally finds the Newcastle win on Broken Moon.
Woo. What an endgame right there, where Fade still does Fade things. We talked about it before we got into this game, Dia. Those consistent players from that previous first solos tournament that we got to witness was always Fade. We had Noko on top, and eventually one of them were going to be able to be in that endgame before finally closing it out, Fade being your Game 5 winner.
And you know we gotta gas up Peebs. I mean, making it all the way to second place and picking up the kill did end up playing for second ultimately by trying to take out, or actually taking out Tony Romero. And speaking of, my hero Tony Romero, he does pick up a kill. You know, he cooks a little bit in the end game, but that was like peace-loving Apex Legends.
The fact that he capitalized off of Peeps, who threw the thermite, and then was able to just get that one shot. She just needed one shot. Let's also assume that he had probably nothing to really work with, maybe the bare minimum, since he was passively playing that pacifist route into that final circle. But that all allowed him to finish not only in third, but with $350 in his pocket.
That is so crazy. Imagine literally sitting in a tree for like 25 minutes and then making $350. Tony Romero is my goat, actually. I love the way that he's been playing. My face hurts. I'm smiling too much.
Verhos in the chat is like, amazing work, Tony. We all saw that. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for holding it down in the bottom, Miss Peeps. It's just the fact that these pros are also able to have a lot of fun in between these games, the banter, because technically, Dia, that was the most normal last game that we're going to be getting here in our Solos Infernal tournament. Because please, at the end, what do we got in store for us here for our final game?
You know, Vicky, we had to run back. I think the audience favorite, certainly my favorite of the tournament. We are going right back to Unbroken Moon. No guns, no Vantage, no Rampart. It is fisticuffs. It is apparently a lot of Watsons, one Crypto, a Suffering Fuse, and Caustic. It's the map that, or rather, the game mode that Zap ended up winning with Ash. I'm very, very excited to see how this turns out.
You know, and we got to talk about our predictions then too, because Dia is team Tony Romero all the way right now. He is banking on it, and with a passive play like that in a no guns final game on Broken Moon, this could work out. But I gotta go over to Imperial Hal as my pred for this final game, because somehow he is in cahoots with the scriptwriters in the back, as we've seen already in the past, and he usually comes out on top, although in a nonsensical role that he's not usually used to. Who knows what to expect in a final zone like the one that we witnessed for game number 2 on Kings Canyon.
I am running this on faith alone. Like, Tony Romero, if you're watching, I believe in you. I believe in all of that. Whatever is going on, whatever you got cooking, keep it cooking, because it's only gotten better through the course of the tournament. Now, Hal actually was running a really nice gig over at Atmo Station, so I see what you're talking about, Vicky. I think he's pretty dangerous. These end zones are so incredibly difficult to predict, and there are 50 players in the lobby, so please, give us forgiveness should we get this wrong, and give us your predictions. I want to see them in the chat. I want to see you going and supporting the players that you're predicting in their own chats as well. I want to uplift the folks that are playing in this tournament, so tell us who you think is going to win, because we want to know, and then go tell them that you believe in them.
Yep, you can add us on Twitter there too if you guys have any sort of creators that you really want to win this final game. Remember, there's a prize pool for every game that each of these players take first place in, second to third, like we just saw in that previous game. It's been going on for the last 5 games, and we still got one more to go. One last chance to Dia for us to finalize and round off our kill leaders for the day. Our top 2 kill leaders that will be able to get paid out $400 extra.
And honestly, it's the only thing that accumulates over all of these games. It's also the thing that is thrown into the most chaos by this kind of match, where it is just fists and nades and abilities. This is where we saw, I think Zap picked up 8 kills in this lobby, against all logic, by the way. It was like arc stars for 99% of it. So when Zap's able to get that far ahead of the competition, I'm sure that somebody else is going to be able to come in and do at least a similar thing.
Hey, we saw his and hers living for a very long time for a lot of those end zones too, playing patiently with the Watson. We saw Verhulst and Hal actually individually with the Valk strat just trying to see if they could fly around the competition. We saw, I believe it was Timmy, hanging out on the top of an evac tower. What more rat spots does Tony Romero have? All these questions that I cannot wait to see for this final game.
What kind of mad science is this man holding back? I do wonder, because we actually talked about this earlier. I'm surprised, sort of thinking back on it. Remember we said that Fade was likely to come back and win on Broken Moon because the pros are not nearly as comfortable on Broken Moon. It's cool to see that actually coming to light, and maybe we've got another content creator victory in us now that we're moving into our last game. There's only one way to find out, though. We know server spinning up on the backside. We are about to get into our final game of the day, so tweet those predictions. Let us know who you think is coming out with the last game win of the Solos Inferno tournament.
And please make sure you guys show some love to our content creators and the rest of the Apex community that have been able to participate in today's Solos Inferno tournament. It's been a fun time thus far, especially with the different stakes that each game has to provide. For those of you guys tuning in just right now, as we get started for our final game of the day, don't forget, no guns, no rampart, no vantage. That doesn't mean no fuse, as we see Fade, the winner of game number 5, drop down in the middle.
No rampart, no fuse, all skill, Vicky. All skill in this end game. Phase with the fuse. I'm surprised didn't go for the Newcastle again, but he gets the stick.
No way.
This should be over, honestly. Slowed after the stick as well. He doesn't even take the time to punch him. Just lets alley-oop crumble to the Arc Star. That was devastating.
Dude, point blank too with Fuse that has that straight trajectory with nade tosses. I would be crying right now, but that's what you're up against when you fight Fuse in these close quarter fights and you don't have the Watsogen obviously up early right when the game starts.
Now, I'm not seeing a whole lot more Arc Stars in Fade's inventory, so he's going to need to pick up a few more of those before the end game. Should have the chance to do so, since the Thermite buys him a bit of reprieve from Paytonics. It is Timmy that picks up the kill, and Fade's right next door, and he's got the Arc Star.
Oh, he did it again! Did it again with the Knuckle Cluster this time around, still taking some of that tick damage before trying to follow Timmy from right behind.
What I'm learning is that to Fade, Fuse, Arc Stars, Knuckle Clusters, and guns are interchangeable. As long as it shoots, he connects. And he connects again!
I actually would be so furious running around with the Valkyrie jetpack just trying to get away. He's trying to get the stick, but the Archer waits for the landing, misses. At the very last frame, though, as Timmy escapes through the window. No more Arc Stars yet for Fade this time.
I was sweating watching that. If Timmy had gotten stuck with an Arc Star in the middle, it would have just been absolutely ludicrous. Now, Fade ends up going for the ring console. This is just to give him a little bit more emo. And with the nade not connecting immediately after, Timmy doesn't have a lot of follow-up options either. Valkyrie was a really popular pick when we did this match over at Kings Canyon because she can get so much height. And we learned, Vicky, about a very important tech there. If you can get an evac tower into the late game as Valkyrie, you can survive for a very, very long time.
Yeah, at least enough time to try to live up into that top 3 so that way you can get even higher in the money. While Keon, this time on the Ash, trying to replicate a little bit of the action that we saw from Zap earlier before. Sliding down. Why are you running? Chasing after him, gets the snare, sends out the arc, misses out the first stick, doesn't even try to attempt the second arc stick, gets the melee instead. Get over here like a Mortal Kombat character before finding the next melee, trying to jump over these thermites, avoiding any pressure that this Valkyrie is trying to put down.
5 seconds left on the next snare. Will he be able to get it? Up comes the climb. Keon is ready. The shield bat goes off and the snare goes wide. Shields are back up and Keon with one more hit might do it. But the jukes are crazy and the ring around the Rosie continues.
Oh, and now through the circle. Wait, hold on. Trying to get something going here. There's a nade, a rogue nade coming out of left field though. Now gonna be able to use that Opal. Keon's literally won.
Real Time is chasing him down now. Tether is going to buy Keon just a little bit of safety as the health regens back up. Will he be able to pop a bat? Because how the turns are tabling, Vicky.
Oh, if Real Time knew how the situation had just turned around there, opts to go for the Valkyrie Skyward dive to now closing the distance and get on the edge of that circle.
That was such a crazy series of plays. Now for something completely different. Because we're moving all the way over to Eternal Gardens, where yes, we've just still got plenty of Valkyries, but we're not seeing the same Ash chase down as we did before. Instead, we've got Terraformer lit up with Watson fences. No stick gonna come through there from Burls, but that seems to be the name of the game for all of our players. Everyone is looking for Arc Star sticks, knowing that they are essentially guaranteed kills.
Oh my, it's still sending it out. It has 2 in his pocket. Verholz trying to capitalize off of Zap, who is chasing after Taurus Princess. She gets taken out. The nade spam, though. Verholz avoids 1, but gets hit with the melee on the other side as Zap walking away from that now, trying to chase down after Verholz, too.
Oh, Verholz is cornered. Up against the tree, gets hit with a punch in midair. That should go off. He's got a little bit of time for this. And it's essentially a reset on the fight while Jet tries to pull off much the same maneuver, avoids the stick of the Arc Star. Valkyrie continues providing so much value.
Especially on Broken Moon, you just get to vertical height just as quick, right? It will be able to fly around everywhere, even if you try to see if the Horizon could do the same thing, but except you could just fly with the Skyward Dive for exactly this reason. Look at JD's position as Jet is right behind her.
1v1 is like jousting. Apex Legends knows no bounds. There's the slow off the missile swarm. And Gent gets to claim a nice bit of height. If you can hold on to this, it's not bad, but it does mean that you're not going to be collecting any more kills for as long as you stay up here.
King of the Hill for real. Gent is playing his own game right now. Coexisting. Legendary Doll to his left, except now you're denying yourself the opportunity to get even more nades when more people come in.
I like the idea of you like sliding down with the spear on something. It just looks cinematically so cool. Minus is in the game, the very organizer of this tournament. Give some love to Minus, who has popped in for our final game on Fuse with the fisticuffs.
All right, now Minus himself looking to prove something on the Fuse, has the mother load ready to go. Love that he's been able to put together this chaotic action for everybody at home. Timmy running for his life, trying to slide down, popping the shield back, gets a scan on the weapon pack so that way he can get some evil charge before getting meleeed though, sliding down, and it's the respect because look who is right in front of him.
I mean, this is an insane fight to be having right on top of the pylon. Verholst still managing to make your way some way out of Terraformer is an or what looked like an impossible feat with that many people. Is going to be able to move all the way around to the north through Eternal Gardens to try and find a bit of a side of zone that isn't busy. But Vicky, I got bad news. We looked at last game when we had this sort of gameplay, and it was all about Zone 4, Zone 5, when it is just way too crowded to really be able to do anything.
Especially on Broken Moon, there's just so much space, especially with the open ground to work with. Obviously, no guns, right? So you're just either going to have to respect it or force yourself in some of these 1v1s and then just inevitably expect somebody to yeet a nade in your direction as Fade going to be able to try to take this evac tower, maybe get into a way better position because he does not like what he sees here in front of him.
Yeah, walking through all of the clutter here just seems like a little bit too much. Now, Ali is having fun time placing pretty little fences. Unfortunately, not quite connecting with the nade, but playing a defensive game that she should come out on top of. Zap can't really access this engagement. Well, Ali continues to hop and dip around. Zap collects an Arc Star meanwhile and gets the heck out of dodge while he still can.
Thank you very much for the quick prime delivery service here for Zap. He gets the Arc Star to add the other 3 that he was holding onto before. Evo Toaster taking a page after what we've seen to Fade on the Newcastle himself before trying to find himself meleeing some of these Watson fences. Whew.
Oh my god. It's so like the Watson fence is just being cast at range. Evil Toaster can't even approach, but he made it to top 3 with Newcastle when we were on Kings Canyon. Might be able to do it again, and with just 50 more Evo, he'd have access to that extra long energized wall that Newcastle really can provide a lot of value with in these games.
Oh gosh, seeing Fade getting another knuckle cluster stick, griefing the player that thought that they were safe on height before coming right back around, hanging out on top of those zips. And this is a nice little spot too, because he's got a nice eagle eye view of all the action happening in that next circle.
Yeah, exactly. Think about this mother load. On zone closes, you could probably pick up like 5, 6 kills with a nicely placed mother load. Oh my boy. Oh my sweet summer child. Tony Romero has found yet another rat spot. Keon this time. Another enjoyer of the Ash. We know Zap is on this, but Zap has clearly converted Keon. He managed to pick up a few nice melee hits here and there, but again, doesn't want to engage Watson.
Romero is definitely my MVP so far over the course of these games. I just gotta give him a shout out as Keon gets the tethers, the nades, double nades here. He's still got 2 nades ready to go. Setting it up on top while Reptar playing off of this high ground. He was the Watson that was trying to turn the tide to actually claim the title for being an evil for himself. Trying to find the competition while Keon now comes in, not only with the tether. Why are you flying? Stuck in a fly trap here. The Valkyrie runs out of gas, slides right in front of Keon.
Oh, it should be Jover actually. Tether does not connect. That would have been it. Keon still on the chase, however, hasn't given up on this yet. Health regen is starting to kick in, Vicky.
This is the same chase that we saw earlier, Dia. This is Keon versus real time. Are you serious?
No, they just can't escape each other.
Actual plans here. Working secretly as the Crypto is back in this lobby, the EMP, but everybody is so far apart from one another.
Vicky, I am left with the same question. Who is the Crypto and where are they? Like, where is this Crypto gameplay actually coming from? Keon, attempting the escape, is trapped between so many Watsons. I don't think he can actually get out. He doesn't have an ultimate. Keon is defenseless and gets taken down by Alley-oop.
Maybe needed to rely on that Crypto drone after all with an EMP that got destroyed right before it blew up. That's why you see all these Watson fences everywhere. Hal looking around sideways, wondering where is it safe for him to go as Zap claims another victim.
Mork goes down. I don't know how Zap is making this work. With all of these fences, he managed to do it last game, making it all the way to the end game, and he's again managing to dip and dive between the electric fence. This time does get caught off guard though. Watson Trap goes down, and yet Zap survives.
Guys, this is the second to last circle closing in, and look at the amount of Watson fences there are on your screen. Everybody's piled up on top of each other, and there's still 43 players left.
A good part of me believed that we would pan out and all of the fences would spell like play Apex or something like that. Just it seems like something that would happen. Now Hal getting engaged on by these rogue Watsons, everyone really realizing the power of Watson in an end circle like this. We have got a bat cave going on this side. At some point, when the zone closes in, all of them will take flight and descend on the rest of the lobby. But this is it, Vicky. No more respawns. You go down now like Reptar, like my boy Tony Romero, R.I.P. There's no more chances. 40 players left. Last game. And the next zone is closing in just 30 seconds.
And we have like 4 players in the bat cave right now, holding onto this mountain for dear life. Jen said, oop, that's not what I tried to do. Who is the king of the hill on the top of this mountain, though? Look at all these Watson. Okay, we're having a good time here. We get the emotes going for all 3 Valkyries right on top of the accelerated zip lines.
I'm serious. Who is Crypto? Like, how is Crypto even alive right now? I want to pay real money to somebody to find out who is playing Crypto. Oh, Fade! Fuse on Fuse violence. Takes out minus tempo.
Not tempo. Just shout out to Tempo, who had actually came in last minute, as Noko unfortunately couldn't play in this last game, but still showing face here. Still, the violence has not stopped, as Hal looking at who's up on top of the tree. Evac tower for Evac tower. There's your crypto, by the way, Dia.
Oh my god,
Asian
boy! Let's go, and he's alive somehow. The Arc Star sticks are not looking good for him though. In's gonna come the shield bat. He still has another EMP. Will he get this off before the match ends for him? 25 HP getting taken down every time he goes through the fence, but somehow it's slow enough that I think we might get another EMP. In come the evac towers, and Crypto hits another, taking down all the Watson's hard work.
Oh my gosh, almost calling him the evac. Can he do it? They're punching him into the fences. The mother load on top of it. He can't get away. EMP. At least to get some information around, because look how quickly everyone put up the fences again.
Aprizzi is down, Krestep is down, 34 players left. Somehow, Asian Boy is being ignored now that the EMP has gone off, but this Valkyrie collusion on the high ground is gonna have to end. Our Batcave continues to find perches, but soon they're gonna lose all height.
Oh, the evac tower. Timmy takes to the height with the evac tower now. How hiding in the crevice? Well, I don't know what kind of hieroglyphics are being spelled right down below. The Watson fences. Timmy does it again on top of the evac towers.
The most busted strat in Apex Legends right now. Surviving on top of the evac in play. 13, 12 players left. Make it 10, 5 as we the people in Gent go down. We're gonna find ourselves a winner as Timmy descends from the skies. Caro gets some good damage done, but at the end, Vicky, I thought it was Timmy, but it was Caro who ends up coming up from the low ground to win the final game of the Solos Inferno tournament. Again, my face hurts from smiling so much through that end game.
Oh, the Watsons prevail at the very end. The Watsons get justice even through the EMP, putting up those fences just as quickly, finding themselves in the craziest spot. I mean, Timmy, he had the right idea. He stalled for as long as possible, eventually had to come down, but welcoming him on the floor was the lava that was the Watson fences, Dia.
I mean, it was tough for anyone to survive in that end game. One of the crazy things about that as well is that if it were a bunch of Catalysts, we'd be going, oh, okay, well, Catalyst is immune to everyone else's Catalyst goo and Caustic, same thing with Gas. With Watson, that's just not true. Like, everybody is taking damage from Watson fences, so in that end game, it is really a matter of staying in your own fences, but also policing everyone else's and watching the Valkyries and it's too much to keep track of. Great play from everyone though, and you really saw the community spirit in that Zone 6.
Yeah, everyone with, you know, the emotes having fun, letting everybody know that they were enjoying themselves. I was gonna say, it would have been cool if they were able to spell out, you know, play Apex with the Watson fences, but Dia, us having a little bit too much faith and having an organized, no communication playground with those Watson fences, it wasn't gonna happen. But at least it looks like they made kind of a star out here. And now that we have all 6 games in the books, we get to find out who not only our final kill leaders are, but who came out on top winning that first place prize for all 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive that we actually, I'm double checking, Drop, Zep, Keon, Timmy, Fade, and Caro, nobody ended up winning twice. No repeat winners throughout this entire tournament is already very impressive. Now, for that last game, Caro Deza did climb up the kill leaderboards by quite a bit. I think they picked up 9 kills in that end game, which is a Zapdo-esque performance.
Yeah, but was it enough in one game? That is a question, because what we were looking at, right, was the top 3 were very close together just by a single kill, right? So imagine at the very end, staying alive just slightly more, even trying to sneak a kill, could have been the difference maker between you getting that extra $400 or not. And I am getting word that we currently have all the kills calculated. We have our highest kill leaders ready to go, Dia.
All right, let's find out who ends up taking it away after 6 games of the Solos Inferno tournament. It is, please God, somebody. Hey, my kings!
Oh my God.
Zap with 32 kills and Keon tied.
Wow. Wait, what? That's actually that is crazy. 32 apiece for both Zap and Keon. I mean, they were very even from the very beginning, Dia. We even saw it. We were talking about them after game number 2, saying that they were still both leading the overall kill leaders, but that did not slow down over the course of the day.
That is straight up statistically unlikely. I'll tell you that right now. Having both of them do as well as they did, but to end up tied at the same number of kills. Really impressive, and in very different ways, right? Like, Zap picked up a lot of kills and really put himself on the map in game number 2 after the Fisticuffs match with the Arc Stars. And Keon, meanwhile, was playing smooth like butter. You remember game 3 when all of our pros had to play Pathfinder, and he was just sliding on into fights with a Disruptor Alternator, destroying people.
Yeah, and yeah, actually, the Disruptor rounds ringing through not only our ears, but the players trying to run away from him. But it was so close. Even looking at Timmy, who was at, 28 kills, all that damage too coming out from our winners in these previous games, readjusting around our circus of these game rules where everyone was able to have fun. But it was a good time, nonetheless, to see how some of these players were able to adapt around the Solos Inferno tournament.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really fun exercise in, like, who could get creative in the right ways and who could grab themselves a few stylish points throughout this. And I know we weren't officially giving out style points, but this is a tournament that brings pros and content creators and members of the community together. And so getting your chance to, whether you're Fade and you're tap strafing up through a wall bounce into a super glide over into a building and one tapping Sykes, there's that. But there's also Tony Romero surviving into 3rd place and burning Verhulst down with a thermite. Both of those things, as polar opposite as they are, were so incredibly exciting to watch through today's games.
It's been great, too. I also want to congratulate each of the individual winners from these games. Remember, each of these winners were able to win $500 for taking those individual games. So, Dropped winning game number 1, Zap winning game number 2. So, Zap, he is out here balling. Not only did he get top 2 in the kill leaders, getting the $400 extra, but he won game 2 with an extra $500 on top of that. Game 3, Keon in the same page as Zap, winning game 3 and kill leader. It's Timmy winning game 4, Fade winning game 5, and Caradiz winning game 6.
I mean, I can't believe that through all those 6 games we had different winners in totally different ways. You could not have predicted this. And Vicky, as much as I knew this event was going to be a blast, I didn't anticipate how many different ways it would go. It has been really incredible to catch the Solos Inferno tournament with you, and I want to let everybody know that this is not the end. This isn't just a one and done. We've got another event coming up at the end of the month, and you can actually follow at Oversight Esports on socials to get an idea of when that'll be and perhaps how you can participate, as we should have applications open for a lot of these community and creator-focused tournaments for you to jump in and maybe try your hand winning a good old fisticuffs, be it on Kings Canyon, be it on Broken Moon. A big thank you to Project Gap for providing production. You can follow them at Gap Project, and that's Project with a K, so GAPPROJEKT, and of course to EA Respawn and the Play Apex channel for allowing us to put this on for everyone's enjoyment. Vicky, it's been a pleasure.
It's been amazing. Thank you, and shout out to all the players as well. I love being able to cast this alongside with you, Dia. And thank you to everybody at home that got to tune in for a wonderful and fun tournament. Can't wait to see more of these in the future. And don't forget, hop on, play some Apex yourself. You never know what you're running into after taking notes of some of the strats that we got to see here for today's Play Apex tournament. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel.